remember the guy's name, but he's going to be Spider-Man in
Tom Holland is playing Nathan Drake.
That's stupid. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. That's a bad casting decision in my part. But you know why? You know why they're doing that? Is because they are going to do the Uncharted movie as like a prequel to Uncharted, where he's younger. That's
so he's going to play like
bad.
He's going
to play a young Nathan Drake.
Like a teenage Nathan Drake. Like, is his brother going to be in it too?
Stupid. Who knows? It's just a really poorly thought idea to me. No one is like, hey, I love this game about this Indiana Jones type character with machine guns murdering hundreds of people. I wonder what he's like in puberty. Let's go to the movies and find out. No one ever.
I mean, at the same time though, first of all, actually you mentioned Indiana Jones, which is funny because they actually had a young Indiana Jones TV series. But I mean, there is like a good reasoning behind that, though. I get like why it is kind of like a stupid idea.
Wait, good reason behind what?
Behind making it about like a prequel, yeah. Well,
the first movie?
Yeah, because it would steer clear of like all the stories of. The games are basically movies within themselves. To be fair,
they're interactive Indiana Jones movies.
You know what? Maybe as a quick first act, a la every Batman movie ever, right? They show young Batman a little bit, then cry for mom and dad, and then you get to the Batmaning. Like, if there's a whole movie of just I'm having flashbacks like Shia LaBeouf, swinging on the vines with the monkeys. Like, I don't need a whole movie of that, of like a young Indiana Jones type character. I don't know. So you're thinking this is a good thing?
To be fair though, like the young Nathan Drake segments in Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 4 aren't bad. Like, I mean, you're still Nathan Draking.
Yeah, but they're not bad, but they're not the whole game. Like, I don't buy Uncharted 3 because I can't wait to play a young Drake the whole game.
He's also probably going to be older than he was in those younger segments in Uncharted 4. So,
fair.
So Tom Holland is older than that, but it's probably going to be before the Golden Abyss, because the Golden Abyss is actually the earliest in the Uncharted timeline.
You know what this says to me? I don't think there's anything that. I don't know. I'm not looking forward to this Uncharted movie at all, really. But
if Neil Druckmann is involved in it, then I'm not gonna. It wouldn't bother me too much.
What this says to me is that the studio feels really strongly, maybe, about his performance in Spider-Man. So for me, this makes me feel a little bit better about the Spider-Man movie, potentially, if they're going to be signing on to Nathan Drake. But I don't know. I just don't want to. What I'm saying is, I don't want a whole movie of that. I just think that's a poor casting decision. I think they need to come out. I think I would love to see like a 2017 version of a Indiana Jones type character and hilarity ensue and see what happens with the right director, with the right screenwriter. But I just think the casting, and you know what? They tried to do this movie before as well, and they tried to have freaking Mark Wahlberg on it, which I was not hype on that.
I do remember hearing
that.
That
was weird.
That was bad. So Nathan Fillion is the only real choice. From Firefly, from a bunch of other things. I mean, if you're familiar with that actor, just literally Google him, and I'm sure there's images literally of him and Nathan Drake's face right next to it, because he looks just like him. He acts just like him. He was born to play that character, And let's face it, too. Like Nathan Drake, like whoever said he was a great character, he's not a great character. It's kind of no. Yeah, it's kind of very vanilla, But I just don't want to see I don't want to see a whole movie dedicated to teenage Nathan Drake.
Let's just make Nolan North play Nathan Drake as like an older Nathan Drake.
Dude, I would love to watch. Have you ever seen Nolan North in an interview? I just feel like he'd be the most silly, bumbling, like 50-year-old Nathan Drake, and it'd be the best.
Yeah, he looks a little bit different, in person than his voice does. But that's kind of how I feel like most voice actors are. He's so talented, though. He can do so many voices.
Yeah,
I mean, he did what, the Penguin in Batman Arkham City. And he's
something
just
like that. Yeah,
he just can bust it out. So he's in the Hall of Fame for sure for voice actors. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man. But no, I'm not standing with that casting. I think that's bad. You know what? It'd be hard for me to imagine a world where I would get excited about an Uncharted movie. But now I'm just like, okay, clearly this is not going to be something that's going to be good for me.
Yeah. Well, at least the Last of Us movie is like completely on the back burner now. So
is that a thing?
It was like. It was like a thing that was going to happen, but it's like it just kept getting pushed, and so I don't think it's going to happen.
I actually really admire the story in Last of Us. I think that was a great game on so many levels.
The Last of Us is one of my favorite games.
Yeah, I don't need to see that movie.
No,
it just won't live up. It'll just disappoint, I feel.
Yeah, but we should probably start up on that podcast. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on. Like, you got E3 next week. It is a big week for nerdy media and video games, and yeah, there's a lot to cover. So let's go.
Yeah, let's hit this thing. So welcome to TDP, the Tiny Disc Podcast.
Oh my gosh, was that the intro? This longest intro to a podcast ever.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to find a good point
Holy
to
crap.
jump in, but it was kind of
Hi,
like.
guys.
I mean, as long as you advertise it at some point, it's all right.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, all right.
So I'm Robert Scarpanito, and I'm joined here by Jack Cepeda
Hey, everybody.
and Colin Sparling.
Hashtag bring on Musha back.
And we're just we're here to talk about nerdy media. Yeah. So Colin, you've been playing you've been playing a little bit more of a Yakuza 0, right?
Yeah, I finally got to delve quite a bit more deep into the game. And by the way, I finally found out who the British guy, the British homeless guy that I was talking about in the last week's podcast. I found out his name. His name is Bacchus, and he's
Wait, can you spell that?
Bacchus.
Okay.
Bacchus. So he becomes a reoccurring character, and it's through him that you
Hold on,
actually
are you spoiling this game?
No,
Because I might want to play it. Okay.
No, like he has nothing to do with like the main story of the game.
Okay,
at least
well,
not
just
so
at least
far.
warn
Like,
me. Shoot.
No. If it was serious story spoilers, I'd be like spoiler alert kind of thing.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so yeah, he becomes like a reoccurring character, and it's like through him that you actually end up learning a lot of like your fighting stances. And so like it just becomes like these really awkward interactions where like there's one time where like you walk up and you just like kind of see him on the street and like a cutscene plays. And he's basically telling this guy's like, hey, you owe me like 2 million yen. And Bacchus is like, what are you talking about? You better shut up or this guy over here is going to beat you up. And then you kind of just get like thrown into the thing and you have to kick this dude's ass for this dude you don't even hardly know. And it's like, this is what keeps happening like perpetually. And then like this random dude like at one point comes in and just like beats this other dude's ass that kicks your ass. And then by watching him, you actually learn his fighting moves.
Sounds like a lot of asses getting kicked.
Yeah, that's what I was about to
There's
say.
so many asses getting kicked in this game. It's great. Like you're walking down the street.
Well, okay, so you said
like-
this is like a side part of the story, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like a side story that happens that is actually still important because you learn you get more gameplay mechanics out of it. But like,
Is
it's
there a
not
long
like
list of fight moves?
there's like different combos, but it's still harkens back to the whole thing of like, squares your like regular combo hit, and then like triangles your finishing like heavy hit, and then circles your grab. That's usually what
is the fight
it like all comes back to.
Is the fight mechanics like something you can mash your way through, or do you really have to like dedicate yourself to defense?
I mean, kind of yes, but it's like you definitely depending on who and what you're fighting, you definitely do have to defend. So actually how much you defend depends on the type of fighting stance that you're using. So the way it works is there's the brawler, the rush, and the beast mode. So there's I know, right? It's edgy as all hell. It's so edgy.
Wow.
But like, so the brawler
click in
one,
both sticks to activate beast mode.
yeah, beast mode. Like it's not far from it, honestly. So like brawler mode is like your regular like street fighting, like I'm a gangster, I'm gonna just clobber the crap out of you. But then rush mode's a fun one because then you feel like Bruce Lee because you're throwing like 100 punches at like 1,000 miles per hour. And so that's the one I like to use personally. But you kind of have to like adapt to each situation that you're in. So you have to like choose what enemies you should like, or what stances you should use on what enemies. And then like the Fury one's really fun because it actually is based on picking up items in your environment and just whacking people with them. So like, oh, there's a bike rack over there. I'm going to stand next to there, activate Fury, and then pick up that bike and just throw it, like wing it at this entire group of enemies and send them flying. So like that's how how the different fight stances work. But like the reason why that's cool is because like obviously like I said, you can fight all these different enemies, but the cool thing is when it comes down to like boss fights. So like all these boss fights have like different like phases. So like certain parts of each stance or like certain things that you can do in each stance become applicable to different phases of a boss fight. So you have to constantly adapt, and that's almost kind of feels like a Dark Souls game in that way. In terms of the boss fights, because you constantly have to adapt and figure out the strategy that goes with that certain boss. But yeah, I have fought like one big boss in this game so far, and it's awesome. Like they make it feel so epic. Because they do like the whole cutscene thing where it's like a big presentation and the dude looks all badass and he's like,
as
so
Japanese games want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, and I don't want to give away the story, but like you walk into this room and like there's just like this dude like sitting there on his knees and he's like no, we're not wearing a shirt and he's just got like a big giant like back tattoo going on, and it just like shows that, and he's like, so you finally made it. And he just like gets up and he's like, now fight me. And he's like, bring it. And it just like turns into this huge thing where he's like coming at you as hard as he can. And then you just defeat this dude and he's like, no, you defeated me. And then he commits seppuku and then it's done.
I gotta say, I love when you tell your stories about these games and your voices come out. Like there needs to be like a drinking game, like a TDP drinking game where when Colin does a voice, like
take a drink,
bottoms up. Yeah, I love it.
But the great thing is like all of the dialogue in this game is all in like Japanese. There's no like other dialogue option, so it's like I have to make it up as I go.
That's funny.
Like this is what they would sound like in English.
Awesome. So you're about what, 10 hours in it or so?
About that. But the biggest talking point about this game I like to talk about so far is like as wacky as it like we made it sound in last week's podcast. The story is amazing. Like in this game, especially if you like your gangster stories and things like that, like mob stories. And I won't give away any, like, I'll be really vague. So, like, it's one of those stories where, like, I don't know if it's really typical of, like, mob stories per se, but, like, it's one of those things where, like, okay, everything is not as it seems and everything starts falling apart because you find out, like, this person is backstabbing that person and that person is backstabbing this person because they want this thing to get more powerful within this organization kind of thing. So... but just the way they detail the story in the voice acting, even though it's in a different language, you can tell like it's really well acted, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the eternal debate, right? Like sub versus dub.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not a Crunchyroll subscriber, but I know enough about that.
Yeah, it's all about whether you can like feel the emotion behind it, even if you don't understand the language.
Right. Exactly. And they elevate that like so much. And the cutscenes are so well done, like the facial animations and like and just how well the graphics in the cutscenes are just so nice, and like you can just tell like it's like watching a movie. Like I put my controller down and I'm like, wow, like I'm really invested in the story to the point like where I go into like almost like the codex of the game. Like I know it's like a Mass Effect term, but like it's like the codex of the game where you can like read up on the bios of the characters. And things like that, and because they do throw a lot of characters at you, so it gets kind of hard to keep track. So you kind of like read up to see like who is associated with this person and who is associated with that, and it's just a really cool universe.
Let me ask you this: are you familiar with the Yakuza universe as a whole, or is this your first game you're playing?
This is my first game. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm wondering, like, because this is a prequel, right? But it's the latest Yakuza game in a long line of what? Is there 6, 7, 8 of these games at this point?
6 is supposed to drop either later this year or next year in Japan.
So there's a long line. So what I'm curious of is, are there some sort of like fan rewards, right? For playing all those games, knowing what you know happens in the future. You know, are there things here that you can go back to Yakuza 0 and be like, remember that? Oh, this is gonna be the guy that ends up selling crack on the corner in part 3, or you know, like
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I wonder too. And the cool thing is like, so Sega makes the games. So they came out with like Yakuza 0, and then they're coming out with Yakuza 6 in Japan, and then it's going to come out in the US, obviously, because Yakuza 0 is doing well enough here in the US. But there's also and then they're coming out with Yakuza Kiwami later this year in August, I believe. Which is just they're remaking the first game and calling it Kiwami, and it's going to be in the same engine as Yakuza 0. So that's pretty awesome that we'll get to play a remake of the first one. But on top of that, like Sega actually started reprinting Yakuza 2 for the PS2. So you like,
oh man, that was one of those games that was rare for a while. Yeah. It was going for like 10 times as much as it cost in stores for a while. I had it. It's
still kind of expensive. You had it for what? I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I had it for a couple years, like still sealed in the plastic, and then it. Oh, that's it got really sold in the great sell off.
Do you remember if is Yakuza 3 a PS2 game or is it a PS3 game?
Is Yakuza 3? I want to say it's a PS3 game.
Is it a PS3 game?
I want to say that.
Yakuza 4 and 5 are, and Dead Souls are, but or is, excuse me.
Yeah, it's PS3. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So they're like kind of like prepping the franchise for like a new generation, which is really awesome. Because I'm super stoked to get into it because it's been really interesting so far, and I'm glad to be able to play the game. Like I'm super into it now.
Are these like 40-hour like opuses?
It's hard to say at this point. Like, to be honest, like I'm only in chapter 2, and so far there's been the prologue, chapter 1 and chapter 2, and I will say in like chapter 2 it does like open up quite a bit more. So you find yourself like playing mini games and buying items and all this, like just doing willy-nilly stuff, a lot more. So you're gonna take a lot more time. But another thing is too, like it's one of those things where they don't really hold your hand as to where to go at all times. Not all the time. If you're doing like very heavily story-oriented missions, they kind of just guide you to the next point. But if you're kind of like, oh, hey, you're searching for more information about so-and-so thing, you kind of just kind of wander and like hope you stumble upon something, which is kind of annoying because the way the setting of the world is everything kind of looks samey. Mm-hmm. Because obviously it's like a part of Tokyo, so it's like really busy and there's like...
Yeah. I was going to ask you, so it takes place in Tokyo?
Right. Okay. The name of the section is, oh my gosh, I can't think of the part of Tokyo it takes place in now. It's like on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, yeah, it takes place in like a small part of Tokyo, and you like
Shibuya?
No, it's not Shibuya. It's Ryoken or something like that.
Okay. Dragon Punch? Okay, yeah.
No, yeah.
Dragon Punch Tokyo, right next to the Starbucks.
Yeah, right next to the Starbucks.
Okay, so so it sounds like if you're into fighting, if you're into like fighting, if you're into drama, if you're into Japan, if you're into gangster type stories, kind of sounds like a good
story.
Yeah, it sounds like a kind of thing for you.
Yeah, and
you talking about it's getting me interested in it, honestly.
Oh yeah, dude, no, it is a lot of fun, honestly. If anything, just for like the gameplay and the story alone.
Gotcha.
So,
well, let's move on from here, though. So, Jack,
there's a lot to cover today.
Yes. Have you absorbed any nerdy media, Jack?
Yeah. Actually, I went Friday night right after work, like literally like 5 p.m. I went to Alamo Drafthouse here in Texas, and I went to a men's and women welcome screening of Wonder Woman.
Wait, is this a bar?
Alamo Drafthouse? It is a movie theater first, and then a restaurant second with a nice bar.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and anyway. One thing I noticed too, because I do movies a lot when I was in Ohio, but one thing I noticed about Alamo Drafthouse specifically is they really pay a lot. They love movies there, and they really pay a lot of attention to the picture quality, the screen quality, and the sound. It's probably some of the best sound I've ever heard.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that as kind of a cinemaphile and audiophile.
All right, so how did that then affect your Wonder Woman Gal Gadot experience?
That movie is something else, man. We could talk about this for hours. It's
no spoilers, of course. It's still fairly new.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be hard, but Colin, have you not seen it?
No.
Any interest?
I haven't, but what I wanted to ask you is, like, you went to the Alamo Drafthouse, and that's where the huge controversy was coming out of, that people were like outraged. But, like,
I made a joke up front, but I don't really dwell on that.
No, we don't have to talk about it. But I didn't know that you actually like went there. And that's pretty funny.
Well, there's a bunch of Alamo Drafthouses. It's like AMC movies, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there is one like true one, like the Ritz on 6th Street here in Austin. That's kind of the original OG. It's kind of like the Newport Music Hall of movie theaters, basically. But no, it's a chain, and it's all across the country too. It's just not really in the Midwest yet, but it does go out to California. Gotcha. Yeah, when I was in San Francisco, they had one there, but it started in Austin, Texas, and it is pretty prevalent here. So yeah, I was just joking, but there was a controversy. Okay, now we have to talk about it since you brought it up. But there was a controversy because there was one screening that was like women only, and for some reason people get angry at that. Like people feel threatened. Okay, whatever. Your emotions, that's your problem. But what was hilarious was someone wrote the mayor of Austin, Texas. Did you guys see this in social media last week? This is hilarious. As if the mayor of a city can say anything about how a private business runs their business, right? As if he can change anything. So what was really hilarious and what went viral was his response. So the letter was basically, as you can imagine, someone was upset because there was a screening that was only for the female gender of Wonder Woman. And so someone wrote the mayor and was da 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 da. This is da 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 da. All this stuff. And then the mayor's response was like, "I'm here. I'm writing you back to inform you that it appears your email has been hacked. Someone with incredibly misogynistic and ignorant point of view has wrote me this letter, and I know it's not you." He's like, I implore you, like, change your credentials now. You wouldn't want someone to represent you as, I don't know. You should. It's worth a Google. That's worth
pretty
Google.
great.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So, anyways, I want to go back to the movie though. That's really what I
it's
want
a
to talk about.
controversy aside. Yeah.
No, yeah.
It didn't affect my enjoying the movie whatsoever. It was, it's not a perfect movie, but it was so much better than I was expecting. I really was rolling my eyes in a big way, especially after Batman vs Superman. Just Wonder Woman was so boring and just one note and so drab in that movie. I was just like, oh, there she is. Okay. And then I was just thinking this movie's going to suck. And even the trailers, the 3 or 4 trailers like building up to Wonder Woman, I was just like, meh. Okay. I almost like, I'll see it out of obligation, or, I mean, because what are we coming off of most recently? Suicide Squad, right? And as far as the DCEU is concerned, correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. And I was so bored during winter break that I actually bought the Suicide Squad digitally on like Amazon Video, because you couldn't rent it at that time, because that's how they get your money. But I really wanted to watch it knowing it wasn't going to be that good. And man, I regret that $22 spend that, to own it digitally.
$22?
I know, because I wanted to watch it, because I was bored. I was bored. It was winter break and I wanted to see the movie. And like I said, I knew it was going to be bad, but it was worse than I thought it was going to be.
Even I didn't watch it, and I'm the DC fanboy of
You
the three
didn't
of
watch
us.
it? You still haven't seen it?
No, I haven't.
I'm surprised. Okay, so anyways, it's not good, and don't waste your time. I did it, and knowing it wasn't gonna be good, and I still was disappointed. How hard is that? So, Wonder Woman though is the exact opposite, and I'm just saying I definitely want to watch it again. I definitely could see it as a movie I own or watch multiple times. I thought that the characters were incredibly believable, just very genuine. She actually was a real superhero. And I'm not going to give any spoilers. I'll give you warnings if I do, but I'm not going to give you any spoilers. But she acted like a real superhero throughout the movie. Of course, there's like multiple acts where you have to kind of have the origin story. Then you have to have, kind of the dress up scene, the getting acclimated to World War I era London kind of scenes, and the humor. There were certain characters that I could live without, but it was kind of, and then it also turned into kind of like a road trip movie in a certain sort of way, with the group of friends. Parts of that were pretty funny. Parts of that also were a little cringy, but overall, so much better than I expected it to be. I definitely would take people back to see it again. I would view it multiple times. I think. I just think an excellent superhero movie, better than most Marvel movies. I mean, it did better in the box office too. Broke all kinds of records. I think it's the number one
female directed,
top female directed debut
selling.
Yeah. And then what second place was, like, what, the 50 Shades of Grey movie or something like that.
Wait, was it really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. See, so I watched Wonder Woman this weekend too, and like as I've already said, I'm pretty self-proclaimed like DC. Like I prefer DC over Marvel, and I'm just so glad that there's finally a DC live action movie that don't have to go to such far lengths to defend the existence of.
You're an apologist.
Yeah, I remember seeing your tweet about that. I was like, oh God.
Because when Man of Steel came out, I was like, well, at least it's a good live action Dragon Ball movie. And when Batman and vs Superman came out, I was like, well, I mean, the choreography was pretty good, right? But it was never like, I could never strongly argue that, no, they're good movies. Like I feel like I'd be betraying myself. But with Wonder Woman, I think it was pretty spectacular what has been done in that movie. I feel like Gal Gadot is a great, like, perfect casting choice.
Yeah,
as Diana. She fits it to a T. And it's kind of, I don't know. It was very well performed. And her relationship with Chris Pine's character is very believable, I think. And it really cemented the emotional impact of the story.
He was great in that movie. He was great.
Oh, yeah. Great.
It's the best movie I've seen him in since the first Star Trek movie as Captain Kirk.
Yeah, and you get to almost see full frontal on him. Like, it's great.
Okay. I was surprised. Boy. Is this PG-13?
I think so, yeah.
I was surprised at how just innuendo-y they got.
Oh,
and
yeah.
how they were willing to go there with all types of anatomy jokes and stuff, and there was like parents in there with like little girls, and I was like in the row in front of me, and I was like looking at them when those jokes were happening. I was like, whoa, dude, Whoa.
Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gee willikers, guys, I don't know if I'm old enough for these jokes.
It was turned around. It was turned around because usually you like, hey, we just talked about Star Trek. So Into Darkness. Remember the big controversy was you had to see the girl in her bathing suit or in her underwear, right? And people didn't really like that. They didn't think it built the character up at all. But this time it's turned around on its head. The woman is fully clothed. Well, not fully clothed, but as far as Wonder Woman goes, fully clothed. Yeah. And then the guy's like naked, like covering up with just his hand. And I didn't need to see that, but it was funny.
I think it was like a welcome change, like because you don't see it very often.
It was funny
in like mainstream movie. Yeah,
it was funny.
Yeah,
and then the scene in the boat too was funny.
Oh, it was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed the like I think the action was also believable. Like the scene where she's liberating that village. Like all
with the
of
whip.
That part was
sweet.
everything. It just felt so cool.
Maybe we are spoiling a little bit. I don't know.
I mean, a tiny. I mean, like there'll be fighting in this movie. Spoiler alert! It's a DC superhero movie. Yeah, there's fighting.
I already watched a review on it, so I kind of have an idea.
Yeah, a lot of the fighting choreography is really good. It really it's because you see like Diana like 1 against 100 kind of a thing. She's always surrounded by enemies and she's still dealing with everyone so well. And they do a good job of making the side characters not feel like side characters. They still feel important to the story even if they don't have powers like Diana does.
I'll tell you how good the story was. The story was so good that afterwards, it takes place during World War I, obviously. Afterwards, I went and like did research about World War I. This got me more hype for World War I than Battlefield 1 did last year.
Nice.
Yeah, it just was cool. And it was interesting also to see Germans as the bad... Oh, spoilers. Germans as the bad guys without actually being Nazis. Because I was like, hey, where's their swastikas and where's their Nazi paraphernalia? No, this is World War I. This is just the Iron Cross. They're up against Stalin.
Did you just spoiler tag that the Germans were the bad guys in World War I?
Spoilers for World War II. And you know what's funny about World War I? It's hilarious. Like we talk about it then, but that at that time they didn't call it World War I. They go, "Wow,
it was the Great
this
War.
Is a really tough World War I. So many people are dying in this World War I. Like it was just a war." You ever think about that? They didn't call it World War I until maybe 50, 60 years later, and then that's all we know it as. Interesting to me.
Yeah, I'd like to shift gears. So I kind of want to talk about a game I've been playing this like a few days ago. So I decided to buy Tekken 7 on PC. I'm a pretty big Tekken fan, so I kind of decided let's take the plunge on this. And I have to say right off the bat, if you were a PC gamer, this is like the best port of a fighting game, or really just games in general I've seen in a long time.
It's a port from the arcade?
Well, it's a port from like the console. Because they released it on console.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I honestly had no idea that you were even that big of a Tekken fan.
I mean, like, I'm not a huge fighting game fan, but like Tekken is probably one of my favorite fighting games.
Interesting.
Like, if I had to choose.
Tekken's great.
Yeah.
Tekken or Virtua Fighter?
Tekken.
Okay, well,
Tekken.
cool. Tekken or Soul Calibur?
Tekken.
Wow. Okay.
I'm more of a Dead or Alive guy.
Yeah.
I like Booby Simulator.
Fair enough. I think Mortal Kombat would probably be my second favorite. That or Smash, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I know you in your Smash days.
Yeah, if you consider Smash a fighting game, depends on how purist you are.
It's a fighting game.
Yeah, I consider it one. Anyway, so Tekken 7.
Not a very good one.
Shut up. It's one of the greats. I don't even like it, but I recognize it as one of the greats. I respect it.
Yeah. So Tekken 7 runs really well on PCs. From what I've read, it's very scalable in terms of like, even if you have a middle of the road PC, like you could still probably, downscale it enough to still be able to run it like 720p or 60 FPS or something, so I have a 970 GTX and I'm running it at 1440p ultra 60 FPS.
Whoa, so many acronyms and numbers. Math sounds good. It's good, right?
Yeah,
what you said?
It's really good quality. Runs smoothly. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I don't have a 120 or 144 hertz monitor, so I can't speak to how good it would run there. But
I wonder,
Namco,
you know what? Sorry to cut you off, but most fighting games, they cap at 60.
Do they?
A lot of them do. I know Mortal Kombat does and Street Fighter does, just because that's how the games are programmed. It's so frame sensitive that they cap at 60 no matter what. So just FYI.
Yeah. So I didn't know that, but there you go. Yeah, I think Namco really kind of nailed it with this one because there isn't much change to the Tekken formula. Like, are you guys familiar with how Tekken works as a fighting game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 3D fighter, right?
Yeah, and like each button corresponds to a limb instead of like the idea of light punch, heavy punch, light kick, strong kick, or something like that.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Yeah, so it's still the same exact like fighting mechanics. You know, like if you were like a Jin main in Tekken 4, 5, 6, you'll be able to easily pick up Jin in this one too. And it just plays so smoothly. It feels really comfortable. It's just Tekken all over again. Yes, Jack?
I got a question. What about... Okay, I'm just going to drop this right here.
Okay.
Martial law? Is he there?
Oh, yes.
Martial law. Okay. Is Eddie Gordo there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, that's all you needed.
Yeah, those are my two mains. Any character you can just like mash the kick buttons and just destroy, wreck shop, I'm down. That's kind of how I know Tekken. Like, you just like turn your right wrist, right, and you just mash on X and circle just over and over again, and then just watch the awesome happen and watch your enemies weep.
So you don't play Hwoarang? He's like really good at kicking. Oh yeah.
Okay, well, hey, I haven't. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you right now. I haven't really got super into Tekken since Tekken 3. There was one on the PSP I played around 2006, 2007. I can't remember the exact one it was. Do the math, but you know, I was real serious about Tekken 3, and actually talking about it now, it makes me want to go back and play it.
Yeah, I'd recommend. I mean, it's a great port. It's a great PC port. It feels really good to play there.
How much is it? Is it full price? Is it 40, 50 bucks?
$49.99 on Steam, but if you're buying it for your console, PS4 or Xbox One, it is a full $59.99 or whatever, $60.
No, it doesn't actually run at 1080p on PS4, is what I heard.
Yeah, I've heard it actually struggles to get up to that high, which I find pretty interesting.
What do you mean, like it struggles? Does it have a dynamic resolution or something?
I don't know. It's just what I remember reading that. I didn't really look too much into it.
Buy the PS4 to unlock 1080p boost mode, right?
Yeah, PS4 Pro.
Wow.
Yeah,
I have a PS4 Pro.
Do you?
Yeah, I do actually.
Wow. Brag about it a little bit.
Yeah, it is fancy running on my 1080p TV.
Nice.
No, it should. Yeah, no, you should. Now you need to get a 4K, right, to unlock the power.
Exactly. Unlock the power
Beast
of checkerboarding 1440p.
Honestly, though, if I had a PS Pro, like, you know, I think I would definitely be in the market more for a 4K TV right now. Not a necessity, but I do see it coming, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we start talking about E3. But yeah,
but yeah, I'd wholeheartedly say that if you are a fan of Tekken 7, you won't go wrong with.
Really? Okay.
And if you're new to the Tekken series, it doesn't teach you much. You know, there isn't really a good tutorial in how to like play a fighting game, so it'll be pretty tough for like newbie fighter people, but it's well worth the money, I think, if you're looking for a really good fighting game that isn't Injustice 2.
Did last week's speculation I had that you can go back and watch movies from the first Tekken movies prove true?
Yes, you can watch all of the cutscenes from Tekken 1 through 6.
That's hot.
Including the tag tournaments.
That's actually pretty neat.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of nostalgia there. And oh man, the story, so bonkers. I forgot how like crazy the story is in
there
Tekken.
A volcano? Like Dead or Alive?
There is a volcano like level. Not yet.
Isn't Tekken, okay, spoilers for Tekken, right, from like 20 years back, but isn't the whole story of Tekken like a dude throws his son in a volcano and then he becomes
throws him
Lucifer
off a cliff?
Okay.
They explain, like, basically they give you a good explanation of how he became like Lucifer or whatever, like a devil in this game. I guess I won't spoil it if you're into Tekken lore.
All 5 of you.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm not into Tekken lore, but like, oh man, it's just bonkers. Like, I'm playing through the story mode just to kind of get comfortable playing it for now. Yeah. And man, I just forgot how insanely dumb and over the top that story is. Like, to give you an idea, Heihachi, the old dude with like 2 duckbills. Oh, 2 duckbills pointing.
This is the part of the podcast where you get excited and smack your mic.
Yeah, smack my mic, man. No, okay, so like the old dude, he's like 4 rockets are being shot at him and he just like parries them with his bare fists and like feet. It's insane.
Guys, are we like experiencing a new era where like Japan is fucking back now? You're talking about Yakuza 0, you're talking about Tekken.
Japan is Japanning again.
You got Final Fantasies coming out that people actually give a ish about. You got Zelda. I mean, Nintendo. I mean, dang. Vanquish recently, you know, have been PC released. I just think like Japan is flexing now. I mean, you've got Death Stranding. We'll talk about it more like E3 stuff, but is Japan back? Like, there's an argument to be made, and it's pretty awesome.
I mean, I've always been a fan of JRPG, so I never really like thought of Japan as out of the video game market or the video game industry, you know?
Well, I guess I just remember when they were like the number one force, right? Like in the 90s and stuff. Like, I remember PlayStation 1 era specifically was Japan ruled the roost, and it's definitely shifted to more Eastern European. Or, I'm sorry, Western European. Western RPGs, you know, at least in the last 15 years or so. But I just think like there's so much quality stuff coming out of Japan. I mean, even back a couple years back when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, like that time too, it was really coming back in a strong way. So yeah. I'm really excited. But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about Tekken 7?
No, I mean, I think I need more time with it to really form good opinions, I think. But if you're a fan of Tekken, this will be right up your alley for sure.
How's the online?
See,
I haven't tried it yet, so
no,
because I'm scared. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
you know, because I'm very rusty.
Get your ass kicked.
I'm very rusty with Tekken right now, so I'm still trying to like get back into the groove of how to play things and have a couple people I can main.
Are you playing with a 360 controller, PS4 controller?
Xbox One controller.
Okay.
I don't own a fight stick or anything, and I would probably kill myself rather than try to play with keyboard and mouse if that's even a choice.
Oh no!
I do have a fight stick. This is making me really want to try this out, especially since it's $10 cheaper. I don't know why that is, but
yeah, I mean $50
not gonna
on
fight
Steam only though.
This is after the wedding expense.
I don't know how I feel about Yoshimitsu's octopus design.
Yeah, he's like a squid boy now.
What are you talking about? He's in Splatoon?
No. He's no, you know how Yoshimitsu in Tekken, he like changes every iteration.
Not since Tekken 3. He would look like I don't know. It's hard to describe him. He's a weirdo.
Yeah, he is a weirdo because every game he changes design.
He's like Volgo. Okay, so
he's like a constantly evolving thing. So yeah, now he has like he's a squid with a tentacle stuff, and he still plays just like Yoshimitsu, but it's just his design is different.
Does he have paint squirt guns?
No, unfortunately not.
He looks like those like he looks like if you took like a dude from Daft Punk and like a dude with Daft Punk and then like told Tetsuya Nomura to like design him into an action figure for like Play Arts Kai. And then threw a squid on his head, and that's Yoshimitsu in this game.
Oh my gosh. All right. Never mind. I don't want to play this game.
They have redesigned some of the characters, like Hwoarang looks different. Devil Jin looks straight out of Final Fantasy 15. Like, in terms of character design, it's great. It's perfect.
Dude, Final Fantasy
looks like one of the boys.
Mm-hmm. But let's move on. So there's a couple bits of news that has happened in the past week that I think is worth us covering. So we'll probably start talking about the Nintendo Switch Online stuff first. Yeah. So Nintendo, they for now the Switch's online like service, I guess if you want to call it that, will be free. And originally it was only going to be free till like fall-ish, if I remember right. But now they're saying that the online service, you'll have to pay for it starting in 2018. And they finally kind of laid out a plan for what you get for paying for their online subscription service.
So you get it for free the rest of this year.
For the rest of this year, you can play online games for like Splatoon 2 or ARMS, for example, or Mario Kart 8. You can still use your online service for free. Afterwards, you're going to need just like, Xbox Gold or like PS4 Pro or PlayStation Plus. You're going to need to pay. Now, the difference is the price for Nintendo's is, I'm fairly sure, cheaper than Xbox's or PlayStation's. Because PlayStation and Xbox, I think they're $60 a year or something like that?
Yeah, they're probably going up. Who knows?
Yeah, whereas Nintendo is saying that it'll only be $20 a year for their online service.
And you get if I'm correct, you get like one free retro game a month, right? Something like that.
Something like that. And they've confirmed that it's not like just for the month that you get that game, but as long as you keep your subscription up, you will get to play that game.
So same thing as PlayStation Gold, essentially.
Yes,
you get the games, and then they'll be locked if you're not subscribed anymore.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it also, of course, gives you access to online multiplayer, which, I guess you'll need if you plan on playing Splatoon, ARMS, or
that thing
Mario
I got
Kart.
for free with every Nintendo system forever. Now it's going to be $20. You know what? I'm not going to complain that much. It's $20 a month. I have other things to complain about besides the price.
Yeah, and honestly, $20 a month isn't bad. I mean, I'd still prefer it to be free, but
$20 a year.
Oh, a year. Excuse me. Yeah, a year.
Yeah. No, I said it wrong. So I think you just followed me.
Right. It does also give you eShop deals. So like on top of the $20 a month or $20 a year, wow, that you pay, like things that you buy via the eShop could be cheaper. Mm-hmm. Like a membership kind of thing. Aside from all that, I think that's it.
Okay, well then I got some beef with this. Okay, so let's talk about how they make voice chat probably the most complicated voice chat solution I could ever even conceive, where you're playing the game. All right, you're hooked up. You're either in portable mode or you're in docked mode and you're playing on your TV, but you have to go through your cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Your cell phone.
Yeah, using an app, right?
You have to get the app. You have to log in. Oh, yeah. And then you have to, coordinate with your friends and then just use your cell phone. Like, it's basically a glorified Skype, it sounds like.
Yeah. But it's Nintendo's first party Skype.
And we all know how great Nintendo's mobile efforts have gone so far. I mean, Pokemon Go the exception, but I mean, I don't know.
Fire
They're still
Emblem
trying to work
Heroes.
it out. Is that
Fire
big,
Emblem
though?
Heroes.
It kind of came and went, didn't it?
It's not big. It came and went, but it was still like fairly well received when it first came out.
Right, but what I'm just saying, they don't have a great track record with mobile. They're trying to get a foothold, and I just don't know if this is really going to be a good experience, right? I mean, you're going to have to be burning through your data. I would assume that'd be an issue for some people. Also, yeah, I understand most people have a phone, but it's just another layer. It's just another layer of complication. Like, why not just do what your competition's doing? Make it easy. Don't make it difficult. Don't add extra potential points of failure that just introduce more risk into the whole thing. But at the same time, though, how important is voice chat during Nintendo games?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it too might be that, like you're playing with your friends. The Switch does offer you the option of it being portable, so you can like drive over to your friend's house. So instead of like needing technology to voice chat, you can just talk to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like be in the same house, same room.
Right. It's just, I don't know. I just wish, I don't know why they did it this way. They must have their reasons. I mean,
well,
I just don't like it.
I'm gonna add a little bit of fuel to this fire because so I don't know if you guys saw, but like Hori released a diagram showing how exactly the voice chat is going to work, like this whole headset setup with your phone via the Switch.
When you have to have a diagram.
Yeah, so they have a diagram. So it's like I think it's an advertisement for what looks like it's a Splatoon 2 themed headset.
Right, they're doing the official headset. And I think the characters in Splatoon are going to be wearing those exact headsets. So marketing.
Yeah, something like that. So this headset that you get, it's kind of like a pretty edgy, like pretty, I guess, kind of cool headset design. It's like has like this thing, the band is like wrapped behind the back of your head, and then like the actual ear pads like had that thing where it wraps around your ears, kind of, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
I know
it goes behind your ears, and then it kind of sits on your ears.
94.
Right, exactly. Okay. And then obviously that has the boom mic that sticks out in front of your face. But here's the kicker. So it comes with a splitter. It comes with this splitter that you hook that comes with two cables attached to the splitter is what it looks like according to the diagram, because it's in Japanese. And then there's one cable that goes out into your Switch, and then the other cable goes out into your phone, and then you attach your headset to the other end of the splitter.
Holy crap! This is like setting up PlayStation VR.
That's your setup to talk to your friends while you play your Switch.
Why not Bluetooth?
That sounds awful.
Holy crap! Okay, and so there's a stereo jack in your Switch. Then I assume that's where it goes in.
Yeah, there's a
yes,
little jack, but I will point out too that the Switch doesn't have Bluetooth capabilities. I'm pretty sure.
That sucks. So let me ask you this: so it has to go. So what if you're playing in dock mode? And let's say you're docked clear across the living room. How long is the cord?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean? Or let's say they give you enough cord. So then what? You got to carry that long ass cord with you when you're like on the bus. Is that their hope? Now this is what I'm imagining. Are they expecting people like on the bus and on the train to have to play multiplayer? So that's why guys, this is a service to you. Now you can play multiplayer ARMS. Like on the beach or something. I don't know. Like, is that what they're thinking? By making it function like this? Like, do they not have the CPU power in the Switch system itself to handle this stuff? Like, they need to use your phone? I just don't know. There's obviously, I mean, Nintendo's Nintendo, and Nintendo is gonna Nintendo, if you know what I mean. They're gonna Nintendo. And they always have a history of just making poor decisions in some way, shape, or form, shooting themselves in the foot. I really think the Wii was like the happiest accident ever. They had a lot of risk with it. I mean, a lot of risk, but I think that, it was successful and it worked out. But man, what an accident. Could have been a total disaster.
And I just wanted to say real quick, I did pull up an article about this about this the diagram. When I found the diagram, it's an article on Polygon, but at the end of the article it says all of this is really only a problem if you want to have game audio and voice chat sound in your ears at the same time.
Yeah.
For those who don't, the option to plug earphones into a cell phone to access the online app is still there. No dual cable headset needed. But if you'd like to hear that bumpin' Splatoon 2 soundtrack while chatting up your teammates, headsets like Corey seem to be the way to go, for better or for worse. Much worse.
Leave it up to Nintendo to reintroduce a problem that was fixed decades ago.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like, I mean, I can't imagine a game I'd play where I don't want to hear both the game audio and the people I need to talk to play the game.
And in multiplayer games today, especially PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, like sound plays such an integral role in online multiplayer.
Yeah.
You know, for a lot of things, especially like shooting.
Mm-hmm. I'd imagine there are like sound cues you need to listen for in Splatoon 2 or ARMS that, you know,
probably
would help you in the game. Like, I need to start countering or something.
Man, this is, you know, it's just, Nintendo gone Nintendo.
Yeah, like, I'm going to be honest. The only thing I'm looking forward to of this $20 a year subscription is just the virtual console, like the access to older games. That's the only thing that I think is worth it on this.
You know,
Nintendo likes to get really acquainted with the 25th letter of the alphabet, man. Why? Why?
I get it.
Oh, this is so bad. But
yeah,
it's only $20. I mean, can I pay you $20 more to not do this? To just have it normal? You know, I'll pay $40 a year, you know, to not have to use my phone.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in that sense though, it's good that it's cheaper. You know, like imagine if this were $60 a year.
It would die on the vine.
Yeah. Like no one would. I don't think anyone would really buy into this.
I don't understand how it's such a big deal to just have like voice chat integrated into that and the 1/8 inch port on your Switch.
Guys, it's time to sell. It's time to sell on the Switch and just switch to PC, where you never pay for multiplayer ever. Unless
I just thought
Warcraft or something.
Yeah, well, I just remembered though, actually. So when you mentioned something about, I think Robert, you mentioned something about how you're going to do it in dock mode. Or was that you, Jack?
That was me.
Jack.
Yeah, how do you do it? Is there a diagram for that? They got another PDF up.
So that's the thing though. So like, if you do it in docked mode, there is no 3.5 millimeter jack on the Joy-Cons, nor is there one on the Pro controller.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't play it in docked mode. Is that what you're telling me?
So if you want, I'm pretty sure if you want to hear game audio and do voice chat at the same time, you have to have the Switch undocked.
So they're going to let basically their fan base develop their own homebrewed solutions around this, much like they did with the stand. You know how they had to with scratching and warping. Oh, this is a YouTube video already. I can see somebody making something up. Tutorials on how to get it to just work like a normal multiplayer console. Gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it's getting worse by the minute the more I'm learning about this. But
yeah, it's like Nintendo's making a bunch of bad decisions right now. Like, for example, their Pokemon Direct today,
which went completely under my radar because I'm not really a Pokemon fan. I've been on the record as saying I respect the franchise, so don't hate on me, but I can't get into it myself. Pokemon Go was not really a Pokemon game. And I got into that, so that's where it is. I was pretty into Pokemon Go for a hot weekend or two.
Right. Well, so Jack, you didn't watch the Pokemon Direct, right? But Colin, you did, right?
I didn't watch it. I just looked up the updates afterwards.
Okay. So for those who haven't seen it or read about it, Nintendo has revealed 3 Pokemon games, 3 brand new Pokemon games. They're doing sequels to Sun and Moon, the most recent, like flagship Pokemon game.
I mean, this is pre E3 as well.
Right.
They wanted it to have its own day.
Yeah, so that's they're called Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I'm pretty sure, and it's looking just like black and white too.
Yeah, so that's kind of the modus operandi I think around the franchises. Do one sequel per generation.
Well, they didn't do that with X and Y, which is the one before Sun and Moon, which is kind of interesting. And then the other exciting bit of news, Pokken Tournament, that smash hit from the Wii U generation,
dude,
they're porting that to the Switch.
I forgot about that game until you just mentioned that. I heard that was actually a legit fighting game, like much to most people's surprise. Like I heard that
there's a lot of layers to it.
The people you heard it from, were they drunk or?
Well, Colin, talk on it. I heard it was a good
I
fighting
mean,
game. I'm just saying. I forgot it was a thing. Now I kind of want it.
I mean, I don't have much personal experience with it. I got to demo it. And I will say, like, there was a lot of depth to it, like a surprising amount of depth to it. It was definitely, I mean, it's definitely way deeper than for like Smash Bros per se.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Shots
Disagree.
fired.
Totally disagree.
Oh my gosh.
Are you sure
Colin,
though? Yes.
Wow. I was not expecting you to say that, dude. Okay. Fight. You too.
But come on. I don't know, like just from what I saw and what I've read, I don't know, Pokken Tournament seemed like it was, I mean, it had a lot of layers. There was way more to it than a lot of people expected there to be. There was quite a bit of a learning curve as well.
Seems like one of those games that a Wii U collector like myself would probably want to have in the collection. Now that I think about it.
For sure. I think the biggest thing though was, like, first of all, obviously the console itself didn't sell very well. Secondly, it was kind of hitting for kind of a pretty niche audience, I feel like. I mean, obviously the Pokemon audience is pretty big, but, like, I don't know how Pokemon and, like, traditional, maybe, like, it's not, I don't want to say like traditional fighting games either though, because it's like, it's not really a traditional fighter like Pokken Tournament.
Well, it was kind of trying to be though.
It was, but it was like, it was a 3D fighter. It was almost like the Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi view.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with it is that, like, I mean, I can't speak for Colin, but I was very disappointed with.
Oh no, yeah,
Pokemon
I
Direct.
completely agree.
Yeah,
I was like, because I texted my one of my friends who's a big Pokemon fan. I was like, hey, there's a Pokemon Nintendo Direct tomorrow at 10 a.m. She's like, oh my gosh, it's a Pokemon Stars, blah 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 blah. She's like freaking out. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it probably is, because I mean, they have a Pokemon Direct that's just completely dedicated to Pokemon, and you would assume it was going to be some huge announcement. I mean, which I guess, granted, a sequel is kind of still a big announcement, but it's basically just an updated version with more stuff, and it's on the 3DS nonetheless. Like, that's not even, they didn't even announce a Switch game.
Okay, hold on. This is something I want to talk about. Is that what people are disappointed about? That's not a Switch game? Is that a component of it?
Because it was Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and it's basically the same game, just some more Pokemon.
That sounds like every Pokemon sequel ever to me. That sounds like, oh, here's like what, 20 more Pokemon?
No, with new games, like jumping from Pokemon X and Y to Pokemon Sun and Moon, it's not just 20 new Pokemon, but it's like 100 plus new Pokemon and
a whole new world and everything.
A whole new region, and usually some kind of either new mechanics or like just, you know, updated graphics in some way. You know, it feels
and none
new.
of that is here.
What this is going to be is literally playing Pokemon Sun and Moon again, maybe with like a nice polish, maybe, and like probably some new legendaries.
Guys,
so it's basically like it's basically Sun and Moon definitive editions.
I was just gonna say they're selling you DLC in full price for.
I wouldn't say definitive editions, because it's probably going to be a new story, kind of like with Black to Black 2 and White to White 2. Like, it's a new story. You know, it doesn't feel like you're playing the same game plus DLC. But
so
it sounds to me like it's just like they're repackaging something.
It's just an
DLC.
expansion.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So that's why it disappoints most people.
Right, and then the Pokemon Tournament thing isn't really that great either, because
I mean, it's not. I guess that's not bad, because it didn't sell very well on the Wii U. It didn't reach a whole lot of people. With all the Wii U games coming to Switch, it's just one of those things where a lot of people are getting Switches, so it can reach a wider audience. I guess.
I mean, like I played a bit of Pokemon Tournament because one of my roommates bought it when it first came out, and I was pretty disappointed in it. And I mean, like, I'm a casual fighting game person, so like I can appreciate a good fighting game and all, but it just felt kind of like you could easily spam with certain characters and just win no matter who you were up against. You know, it felt
like, if I recall, it reminded me a lot of the Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm games.
Whoa, you got that out there.
So
fast.
I mean, like, so there's part of the game where like you're fighting from afar and it's like 3D movement, and then when you get close and do certain attacks, it changes into like 2D movement, a la like, you know, Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat. And then when you knock them away, it goes back to that like 3D movement, like Ninja Storm type gameplay. But I don't know, when I played it, I wasn't impressed. I didn't really fall in love with any of the characters to play as them, and it just felt kind of boring to play.
So Pokemon is still boring. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. No, no, it's more like, because like Jack, you'll probably get this. Like with Street Fighter or with any fighting game, like playing it, it's really easy to describe, right? You pick a character and you beat up another dude.
Yeah.
The end. But the reason you keep coming back is because you want to keep getting better. There's always such a high skill ceiling. Even if you just want to play one character forever and ever, it'll take you forever to master like that character skill sets and what to do with that character in any given situation. With Pokken, I felt like, okay, I'll play around with a couple characters. I found this one dude who has this one move that's not counterable and can be used literally any time. So I'm just going to play that dude and use that move every time I can. And that's it. I've mastered Pokken Tournament. Yeah, I've mastered Pokken Tournament. I'm done. No one can challenge. You know, it felt like that kind of thing where it was... Yeah, it just felt very easy to fall into this rut and just be bored with it.
Fair enough. It seems like you're playing mainly against a computer,
my
right?
very naive impression.
Yeah, I don't remember if there was online for that game or not.
Yeah, curious. But most fighting games really thrive more multiplayer as computer. So I could see how you get bored.
Well, excuse my very naive impression that I had of the game. I don't know. I was basing it on like a small demo that I played and then like a couple of reviews that I read of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, needless to say, I'm not excited about. Like, I'm not going to be buying it on the Switch, most likely.
Oh no, I'm not even a fan of Pokemon in the first place. So.
Yeah. So I think let's get into the meat of things. Let's start talking about that one big event that's happening next week in the gaming industry.
The video game Super Bowl.
Yeah, the video game Super Bowl, sponsored by Jeff Keighley.
And somehow Tom Brady's going to win this one too, guys. I don't know how, but he's going to be there.
I hear he's deflating some of the discs.
He is on the cover of the latest Madden, but hey.
So I have a very, very quick story to tell about E3 real quick.
Oh, no.
So I was watching E3, it might have been last year, and my ex-roommate that used to live with me, he's like, dude, like, why are you sitting there just like watching streams all day? Like, couldn't you just, read about the stuff afterwards? Like, just later, just, get all the pointers? I'm like, then why do you watch sports games live? Can you just get the scores afterwards?
Got him. So did you rush him to the burn unit after you said that, or
I ran downstairs, grabbed the ice pack? It's all right.
Yeah. Point, so E3 is next week. Super Bowl.
I would figure, we're an hour in. I figure if you're already listening to a podcast predominantly about nerdy stuff and video games, that we don't really need to delve into too much of what E3 really is. I figure if you made it to this point in the podcast, you well know, and if you don't, it's basically probably the best time of year to be a fan of the video game industry as a whole. This is where all the news comes out for the big plans for the consoles and for games across all mediums. So it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, and this E3 is isn't this E3 a little special because it's the first one that's open to the public. Right.
Yeah. So they pulled the panic button, right? They slammed that. They broke the glass. They slammed the panic button. Oh shit! E3 is not what it was. It's losing money. It's not really going to be worth it. How do we inject some revenue into this? I know. Let's sell incredibly expensive tickets to the public. 15,000, in fact, into the LA Convention Center. I was there before the public was invited, when it was still like a real big congested thing. Back in the mid 2010s, and it was the E3 that the Wii came out and the Twilight Princess was like playable on the show floor. And back when Shadow of the Colossus, before it was called Wanda and the Colossus, that's what I remember playing at E3 that year. Anyways, and I remember how crowded it was then. So I couldn't imagine injecting 15,000 more people. I mean, obviously attendance has waned. It's not really what it was before. I mean, even last year, Nintendo had a game. I mean, granted, it was Breath of the Wild, the newest Zelda game, which is one of the greatest games of all time. But, it's usually where you showcase a whole stable of games. But Nintendo took that gamble and was just like, nope, just one game. It's giant show floor here.
And it's kind of all they needed.
Home run. Hey, home run. Kudos to them. They were right on that. But I just can't imagine, right? So they did kind of what Square Enix did with Final Fantasy VII. They're like, oh, we're going to go bankrupt. We need money. Oh, I know. Remake Final Fantasy VII. Finally say we're going to be putting Kingdom Hearts 3 out there, even though it's like vaporware, essentially, and it's not going to be coming out anytime soon for either of those games. But that's what happens when companies, at least smart companies, or who knows, companies that are just sick of making the wrong moves over and over again, when they are losing money, they have to find a way to make it. And that's why you have the public coming this year. Are either of you guys going? Did you get your tickets? They were super expensive, right? Weren't they like $500 or something stupid? Can't remember the price.
Yeah, and then on top of that, travel fees.
Yeah,
You know,
but
it's
they
just-
sold out
it's a
too,
lot.
like within hours, well, maybe on hour.
Yeah.
like, yeah, and that's one of those things. You know, I think people are going to go, and they are. What's interesting as well, I mean, E3 is changing. They are introducing panels now, like a la Penny Arcade Expo, Comic-Con. They're going to have like full on like customer centric or player centric, gamer centric panels now with industry, and it's just changing what E3 really is. You know, it's primarily a meeting place for buyers, like the Walmart buyer for, you know, northeast section of the country needs to know how many copies of Golf for Us, you know, 13 to buy for Walmart, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go look. And, you know, that's kind of what E3 is about. Real boring stuff. I mean, as far as being there personally, like, Now it's completely changing. It's going to be interesting, but it also is concerning too.
Mm-hmm. But I think what we can start doing is kind of look forward and, you know, just what do you guys want to see at E3 next week, or what do you expect to see?
So much, yeah.
You know, so much. And I think to make this easier, we can break it down by the big six companies that are going to be there, and kind of just go through one at a time and kind of, you know, just give our thoughts on it. So why don't we start with a pretty big one, Bethesda.
Are we going to go like kind of in the order of their live stream events?
Actually, we could do that if you want.
Bethesda's first, or
Yeah, we could do that because EA is actually first, because they actually go on Saturday because they're not technically part of E3.
Okay.
That's right. They have that EA Play thing.
Right, they do EA Play, which actually takes place across the street from the convention center.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
Basically a giant middle finger to E3.
Wow. Wait, so they're not
Basically.
taking part in E3, but they're going to be in LA right across the street doing their own thing. They're going to get their
exactly.
groove back. That's what you're telling me. Colin's face right there.
That took you a little bit there.
What's a groove, guys? Okay, yeah.
Anyway, the Emperor's New Groove.
Okay.
So obviously the big one being like for EA would be like Battlefront 2. That's their big showboat right now, I would assume.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, with EA this year, I'm over EA right now. It's kind of tough to really be excited about their games. Because, I mean, do you guys remember them last year at E3? Or it might have been 2 years ago with their big Battlefield 1
Well,
thing.
it was last year, though. The main thing was Mass Effect Andromeda, and look how that ended up. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the big news last year. For me, it's just like, okay, like I said to you guys earlier, they had to, with the Switch coming out, they basically were obligated to the world to port FIFA over. I'm not a huge FIFA fan. I respect that game as well, but I'm not a big FIFA player. But they had to put it on the Switch. Now, I think with the success of the Switch, with how much it sold, with the hype all surrounded around it, I think you're going to start seeing more of their other side Madden, right? It's not like a side game.
Madden,
but you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like their other sports games are going to be coming and being ported. I think you're going to see from Electronic Arts, you're going to see heavier support for the Switch overall across the board. And that's really my one prediction.
No, yeah, I agree. And on a side note, actually, did you guys see the news that I think it was released today about FIFA on the Switch?
What?
No.
So it's basically going to be a ported like Xbox 360 version. And it's not going to be running in Frostbite engine, and there's no the journey mode, which is like the franchise
that's a whole
mode
reason
in the
to
game.
play those. For me, I know a lot of people are
Yep.
card collectors, but dude, so they can't even support the latest engine, and they're saying this. Are they like really dogging the Switch's architecture that much? I thought the Switch was supposed to be strong.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I mean, maybe it must not be as strong as we thought.
Wow.
Or as strong as they
Is that
need it to be,
confirmed news,
obviously.
like release that you're reading that off of?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it in an article today.
Whatever. No one's going to care. It's going to sell. I don't think Nintendo
Yeah, I
players and
don't
fans are
care.
conditioned to not have like, you know, the top of the line graphics. But the bigger news to me is that has nothing to do with the engine, I would think, is cutting out that single player mode. That's the one thing that the story mode and like the kind of RPG elements of that's the one thing that kind of gets me hyped for those games. I was thinking like, oh, maybe I will play a FIFA game because that just seems like a cool, you know, I inject a little RPG into my sports games. Heck yeah.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
Yeah, because I've never really been interested in sports games personally, but I remember reading somewhere like the new Madden game's going to have this really interesting like build your career kind of thing, and it's like, huh,
Yeah.
I guess I've always wanted to be a virtual quarterback. That'd be fun.
Well, Yeah, and that's why people like the NBA 2K series so much, is because they do a really, really nice
Story
job
mode,
with their
right?
franchise mode, wherever you want to call it. Yeah, their story mode, because it has those RPG elements. And then Sony followed suit with MLB The Show. So the MLB The Show has the Road to the Show mode, which is kind of like the same idea as what the 2K games have, but you can like work your guys up through like you can drag them from college into the minor leagues, and then go from the minors and like show off, and then get drafted into the majors and blah blah blah.
He just dunks on your soul.
Right. Well, yeah. Actually, the cool thing about the newest MLB game, because I actually bought it from my little brother for his birthday, so I got to check it out. Is they have like a retro mode, so you can play like it's like old school like arcade style baseball.
It was modeled after Ken Griffey Jr.
Cool.
on Super Nintendo, like that game. Yeah,
yes.
I'm all about that.
Yes,
I've heard some mixed reviews about that, but I would love to play it. I don't know if it's worth a full price of the game, but I'm down with all implementations of that.
Those games drop in price after about a year. So
yeah, for sure. It'll probably be a free PlayStation Plus game next year. Who knows?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest questions I have for EA is it time for us to hear about a new Dragon Age?
Potentially.
So you want to see something from BioWare? Oh, actually, isn't BioWare releasing a new IP?
Whoa.
Not releasing, but revealing a new IP at E3 this year.
So that wouldn't be Dragon Age. That'd be a new thing.
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that? That's kind of intriguing.
It's called Codename Dylan. It kind of flies under the radar a bit, but if you Google Codename Dylan, you'll see like a couple like inklings of information coming from BioWare for that, but they're being very hush-hush about it.
How long ago did you hear about this?
Like earlier this week. Last week.
Okay. Well, I'm more intrigued. But then again, like, let's be honest, guys. Like, I hate to sound so cynical, man, but BioWare has just not been the same since EA acquired them. They kind of were the rushing out Mass Effect 3 just led to more problems than solutions. So,
the worrisome thing too about their new IP to me is, according to reports, people are saying it's borrowing mechanics from MMO FPSs like The Division or like Destiny 2. Not really MMO, but like MMO like pseudo MMO shooters.
Okay, interesting.
So, it has potential.
Look forward
I guess,
to that too.
but
I mean, that will be something that could potentially blow up the internet. A new IP from BioWare.
Yes.
I wasn't even speculating that that could happen. Thanks for sharing, because now I'm a little more excited to watch that press conference now.
Yeah. Same.
No, yeah, for sure. Give us a reason to watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but back to my question: do we think it's time for a new Dragon Age?
I don't know.
I didn't
feel
play too much of the first one. The first one had too many problems for me. I recognize it as a good
As in
first.
Dragon Age Origins?
I'm sorry, no, Inquisition. Origins was the best
third
one
one,
still.
yeah.
I think Origins was the best one, and then Inquisition, and then that abysmal second one. By default, right?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want a new Dragon Age, honestly, just because it's a game that's in a weird place where, the first one was, people call it the best one because it was the most tactical. Then the second one just became this weird action game pretending to be a tactical game. And then the third one, Inquisition, was kind of a good mix of both. But, I don't know. I guess I'm a little stale from it just because I played through most of Inquisition. I think I beat it. It took me like 96 hours. And by the end of it, I didn't feel like I need another Dragon Age game in my life anytime soon, and it's been a couple years and I don't
feel the need for speed right now, but I will always think fondly back to Dragon Age because I built my PC in early 2015 based around Dragon Age. That was the first game I purchased. No, second game I purchased. Evolve. I don't know if you guys remember that. Those are like the two big games.
Beautiful game.
Yeah. Guess which one I played more, right? But Dragon Age Inquisition, I just will always remember it for the rest of my life. Honestly, for the rest of my life, as the first game I played at 144 frames per second, solid locked, and it blew my freaking mind. And I always love it for that.
And wow, it was fun, right? Like, Jack, you can attest that it has its moments.
Yeah, and then you get sick of being in the hinterlands forever. You don't realize. I wish someone just came and poked me and was like, "Dude, get out of here. This is not where the game is." I realized you need to get out there. I was trying to do what video games condition you to do, right, and finish everything and do all the quests. And so I was in there 20 hours, dude, and I just got burnt out. And then I finally got out, and it started getting good. But by that time, it was kind of too late. Other games had already come out and started taking my attention.
Yeah.
So my personal experience was like with the Dragon Age series, like honestly, I didn't really get much into the first one. Like something about it just didn't grip me too much. And then like I tried to give it another chance when Inquisition came out, because I remember I got my PS4 Christmas 2014, and I think that's shortly after when shortly before that Inquisition had dropped. So of course I got Inquisition for Christmas. I put like 20 hours or so into it, and then I just kind of like dropped it. I was like, this isn't really holding my interest. I wasn't really a big fan of the combat either.
I
will
imagine it was different on controller. I played a keyboard and mouse. I feel like controller.
Oh, so yeah.
I assume you played a controller, right? Because PS4.
Right.
Yeah.
Regardless, I think it's been like enough time has passed to where I think I could comfortably say that they could announce it, because it's been about 4 years, and I mean, I don't know. I know like the new Mass Effect was just dropped this year, but I mean they could come out and be like, hey, it isn't in development kind of thing. You know what I mean? We could at least give us some sort of confirmation, because I mean EA has a tendency to like talk about their games well ahead of time. So with that said, not that I really care too much about Dragon Age, but there are a lot of people out there that love the Dragon Age games. So
yeah, I mean,
if there is Dragon Age, let them have Dragon Age.
If they announce it, I'll look into it, but I'm not excited for it. I'm not like hoping.
No, I'm not keen on it. I'm not keen on it.
What would get me excited
is
VR Dragon Age. Seriously, then I'd be like, oh, hey.
Oh, God.
You know?
Maybe, yeah. Oh, maybe like an isometric view, like you're playing God and you're like telling your units where to go.
First person. Because seriously, man, I can imagine those dragons just being impressive as shit in VR.
That's true.
And the landscape. So,
but
they could eat Skyrim's lunch in a way.
Yeah.
No, right before we leave EA though, my shoot for the sky prediction, or what I would love to see from EA, Visceral Games comes out and they're like, guys, Dead Space.
Whoa, boom. That could be cool. Even though Dead Space 3 was kind of crappy.
Yeah, but Dead Space 1 and 2.
Yeah, but there's been like ever since like Dead Space 3, there's been kind of like a little bit of a survival horror renaissance going on. So I think they would be like, okay, we're gonna go back to our roots and we're gonna scare the bejesus out of you like we did with 1.
Could be cool. I mean, especially with with Resident Evil success, at least critically.
Yeah, and I'm hankering for a new Dead Space game, man. There's something so satisfying about the combat in Dead Space that I
first
crave.
And still best.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. I think I like the second one slightly better than the first, to be honest. Just because it's a little bit more fluid.
Too much of the girlfriend in your ear,
but otherwise
screaming at you.
All right. Anything else from EA before we move on?
No, I think we need to move on. We're taking up too much time with EA right now. I think we need to.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover. Seriously, oh man.
Yes. So we have to.
Okay, let's get.
We have to start moving quicker. So let's move on to Ubisoft next. Ubisoft.
Aisha Tyler making all them jokes.
Yeah. Like I hope she hosts again this year. Please don't.
Oh, she's good, dude. She's good.
Are you?
With their 3
she's
hour
good at her
long
own thing, but whenever she starts involving,
she starts
involving the crowd, it makes for like moments that you still remember a year later in for bad reasons.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, she's great. I like her, but man,
and then she goes out of her way to like drop curse words just because she'd be like, curse word, huh? Isn't that funny, guy? Because I said a curse word and it's
we're gonna have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to seriously endure another like dance. USA, like, but yeah, just dance, and then the whole dance routine. That's the one part I'm just like, come on.
Endure? Excuse you. I look for that's what I've been waiting for all year. I've been counting down these 365 days for another Ubisoft dance routine. No, okay. So the thing I'm looking forward to most with Ubisoft, I think, is probably I'd like to see more Far Cry 5 stuff, but that's so far out. It's like 8 more months. I would like to see a reveal on the new Assassin's Creed game.
Is it time? Wasn't it news that last year there wasn't an Assassin's Creed game released, right?
Yes, yeah, they were taking a hiatus.
I disagree. It is so not time for a new Assassin's Creed. Let that breathe. Let it breathe. Let it marinate. I mean, 1 year off to me is not enough. Now, I think you're right. I think there definitely will be another Assassin's Creed announced.
They're dropping it this year.
But I'm not in that audience that needs that.
Well, the reason I want to see it is because they've acknowledged that they need a break from it, right? And if they come back this year with it, that's them, I think, that's them saying, we approve of the time that we've taken, and we think this is the much better quality. Like, this is what they think the hiatus was all for.
They're going to have... And
I want to see what they think a good Assassin's Creed
They're going to have to do what they did... Yes, that does make sense. They're going to have to do what they did with Far Cry, at least what is purported that they're doing with Far Cry, and really mix it up. I just think Assassin's Creed is way too formulaic, way too predictable. You know what? I take that back. When you talk about Black Flag, I thought Black Flag was awesome. They're gonna have, dude. If they did a sequel to Black Flag, that could be sweet. Then I'd get excited.
I'd love that.
They did. It was Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Yeah, the one that they released at the same time.
And no, man, give me.
No, it came out alongside Unity.
Oh, that's
all right. So dash my hopes against the rocky shores. Why don't you? But anything with sea shanties in it. That's all I need. Give me some more shanties. So what? Do you guys know anything about the new Assassin's Creed, or are you guys just predicting that's going to happen?
Aside from the few screenshots that like got leaked, not really.
Yeah, according to leaks, it's going to be set in ancient Egypt, which I'm very curious of how that's going to fly.
Oh man, they're going to circle back, guys. They're going to circle back to the Desmond storyline trilogy. There's going to be aliens involved. It's going to be completely incoherent and just tacked on. Because that's why they're going to Egypt.
Yep.
Aliens, Stargate, Kurt Russell.
Ancient aliens. Oh god.
But yeah, I think that's the main thing I want to see from Ubisoft. I want to see what they think I want to see the fruits of their labor. I want to see the fruits of their time off to see what they can make out of
Michel Ancel. Michel. What was the name of that? Wild? Wasn't that the name of his game coming out where you like tame the animals and you ride a bear and you can like be a hawk? Oh, come on, guys. I think it's called Wild.
Do you mean everything? Huh? Are you talking about everything?
No, this game is called Wild, I'm pretty sure. And it's Michel Ancel, the guy who made Good and Evil, Beyond Good and Evil, and Rayman. It's his new game. Okay. I want to see that game at that. And they're definitely going to show more, I think. Because they had a big showing at PlayStation Experience a while. You guys didn't see that preview? Oh, man. Okay. So yeah, I'm really hoping for, and I'm really optimistic they're going to be showing more of that at E3. It just looks ridiculous. It looks. So, I'll share more with you guys after the podcast, but check it out.
Okay. All right. So next on the list, I think, let's talk about, before we get into the big three, let's talk about Bethesda, because that's going to be an interesting conference all on its own.
I've heard some things and some stuff.
Would you like to share the stuff or the things first?
So the stuff is, I heard there's going to be a new IP announced this year. Have you guys heard anything on that?
As in first party, or is it going to be like public?
No, like a new IP, like a first party Bethesda IP. Like on, yes, that's what I heard. It's just rumors. These are predictions. You know, I don't have any secret, information or anything, inside information, but these are the little birds are singing, so to speak.
Yeah, I haven't heard this. No. Okay.
So we'll see.
I know that they released that promotional thing for E3. It was like Bethesda Land or whatever, and they had the two parts of it, like the map. It's under construction.
There's going to be new IP,
implying that there's going to be two new things. New IP. Right. So one of them is going to be a new IP.
Is
That's
what I
crazy.
Was, like I said, what I've been hearing, and then
I mean, because they could have quite a bit up their sleeves, so they could have a Wolfenstein sequel.
I'm sorry. Wait, what? How do you say that? Wolfenstein?
Oh, are you a Stein? Are you a Stein person?
Wolfenstein.
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 Okay, so BJ Blazkowicz kills Nazis too.
Yes. Give me more. That game was sweet.
I'd love to that. Yeah, the 2014 one, the recent one. You ordered or whatever.
Game. And then the
Are you one of those people that says Ramstein?
Yes.
Weinstein.
Ramstein. It's Rumstein.
Robert, why do you host so much? Why do you host? Why do you host me?
Do host?
I'm just curious. don't host anymore.
Du hast mich.
So
okay, so yeah, back on track.
Host you guys so much right now. Okay, yeah, so I'd love to see a new Wolfenstein. Yes. So I could see them releasing something about that. Maybe a new Elder Scrolls. It's been like 6 years since Skyrim came out.
It's on, and I think it's going to be. And I think they're going to go hard on VR. with that. I think out
so?
of the box they're going to have VR support.
The Elder Scrolls 6 Skyrim 2 VR.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are my predictions. These are my predictions. I think they're because look at their support with Fallout 4. It's been written in the stones for a while that they're going to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually one of the talking points I was going to bring up is Fallout 4 VR. I feel like we're most definitely going to get an update on Fallout 4 VR.
Yeah,
and it would go very well if they're pushing VR with that, and then that segued into like if they do announce a new Elder Scrolls game, they'd be like, okay, Elder Scrolls VR as well. So now we have we're starting a small family of VR games published by or made by Bethesda.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Fallout, what do you guys think the chances are of a new Obsidian Fallout game?
Obsidian's busy, right? They're busy with their own. They're busy with that.
Oh, Stick of the South Park.
Yeah.
Upcoming game.
So you mean when Obsidian makes the very way superior Fallout game?
Yeah, I'm looking for New Vegas too.
Yes, New Vegas is better than 3. Don't fight me.
I've never played New Vegas. I don't know. I own it, but it always seemed like the B team was.
No, do yourself a favor. It's very good.
If I ever have time,
dude. Yeah.
Once I retire, guys, I'm going to be set from basically 65 to 95. I'm just going to be catching up on games from 2001 and on.
It's a long way to go.
Yeah,
buddy.
I'm working towards it. So hey, this is huge news. And if both of these prove true, this is going to be an awesome presentation for Bethesda. This is
I think Bethesda they're also probably going to drop some stuff about oh my god, that first person shooter arena shooter that's really good. Quake.
You forgot Quake
Champions.
Oh, that Mario, that plumber guy with the bro. What's this in the Yoshi?
That blue spiky haired guy runs fast.
Quake, yes.
What's
Quake
his
Arena
name?
or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Quake Champions.
Okay.
Now you can't remember the name.
I never knew it.
Quaker Oats.
Okay. But yeah, I think because right now it's closed or open beta or something like that. And I think it's invitation beta. And I think they're aiming for a 2017 release window. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more maybe updates from the game or something like that at E3.
I could totally see dig on some Quake. It's not my first PC game I reach for. I don't have quite the nostalgia most people do. I'm more a Doom man myself. But Quake is definitely something that I remember fondly and is always welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an inkling maybe there's going to be some announcements on maybe some more Doom support stuff, maybe some stuff for multiplayer. And then maybe some Prey DLC updates. I'm sure they're going to do DLC for Prey.
I mean, it could be a little too soon because Prey was just a month ago. Not even.
Well, I mean, they could be okay, we have DLC planned at the very least.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but I think obviously the biggest question is whether or not they're going to announce Elder Scrolls 6. And at this point for me, I feel like it's kind of a flip of a coin because we could be nah, they're probably not going to announce it because they said it was well a ways off. I think last year, because Todd Howard was I almost said God Howard again. Todd,
I've never heard that expression before.
Todd Howard was right. Todd Howard said yeah, it's happening, guys, but it's pretty well a ways off. I mean, knowing Bethesda though, they could be okay, guys, so Elder Scrolls 6, oh yeah, that's coming out in November. Here's a gameplay trailer.
Do the thing they did with Fallout 4.
Exactly. I was half kind of expecting it, but not at the same time. And when it happened, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got out of my chair, flipped my chair, flipped the table, flipped my dog, flipped my cat. Nice. I was freaking out. I don't even own a cat. I flipped my neighbor's cat.
You got cats and dogs living together. Wow. No, this could. Here's a pie in the sky prediction for as far as Bethesda is concerned. It's not gonna. It's so pie in the sky. It's not gonna happen until 2018. But let's talk about it, guys. No one's really discussing this yet, but it is pretty much locked in, inevitable that there will be, not if, but when a Doom sequel arises. And I think, I think next year, next year it will be big, and they might even announce it before E3.
Oh yeah,
to just steal marketing the eyeballs basically. But
well, here's a thought too. What they might do, maybe instead of a Doom 2, what if they did a Doom DLC expansion, story mode expansion?
No,
a la Blood
I don't
and
want
Wine.
that. No, I want. I could
don't
make
want that?
it would make sense probably financially to do that, but I want a full on just start over, man. Just call it Doom 2 and use the brackets right to make the Roman numeral 2s like they did before. Don't use the II. Use the brackets. Like just play all the way back to that nostalgia. Like I want that. I want the cacodemons. I want it all. Just I think that is more a foregone conclusion that will happen, not when. I mean, that game was just way too successful and made them money.
I mean, because you beat Doom, right? The new Doom.
No,
Oh, Colin,
but I
did you ever
will.
play
I
the
played
new
a
Doom?
crapload of it. It's on my list.
Okay.
I'm very saddened to say that I haven't played Doom yet.
You haven't even played it yet.
Yo, come over
Dude,
sometime. You'll play it on my
You're one of the most metal
machine.
dudes
It's
I've
so
ever
fun.
met.
I know, and I blare the soundtrack constantly because Mick Gordon's soundtrack is incredible.
Dude, it's been on sale for like
and
$20.
I haven't played it yet. Dude, I know. I just haven't gotten around. I haven't got my PC built yet. I'm in the middle of playing 5 million games at once.
I'm just saying, I heard it holds up pretty well for PS4. I heard it holds up pretty well. The frame rate's solid.
No, yeah, I know the PS4 version is pretty decent.
I am taken
yeah,
aback by this news.
It was one of those games that was on my list when I get my PC built, but it's turning into one of those middle-aged midlife crisis type dad car builds where it just kind of sits in the garage.
PC's the way to go, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying that is a must play for Colin Sparling.
Like, honestly, just us
Yes.
talking about it right now
Dang.
kind of makes me want to
For
reinstall
sure.
it right now and play some.
sure.
Yeah, it's such a fun shooter. And the way it ends, like, even if it didn't sell successfully, it's very obvious that the way they ended it, it's like, there's a Doom 2 in the
Dude,
works.
just play the first half hour. So awesome. Probably one of the best first half hours in the game, period.
Oh, like, the second he cocks a shotgun.
Just don't say nothing. Man, get on that call. Okay, so Pie in the Sky. I would love for them to announce. I would love them to announce the Doom sequel this year. I don't think they will. I would be shocked. They might drop a teaser, like a stinger, right at the end. One more thing.
Oh yeah, what if they just show the bracket too?
Exactly.
Like they just show that for a second,
and then the internet
that's the
would
end of our
break
show.
into. So
Can we just have Mick Gordon come out and just play like the entire Bethesda conference? Like, 'cause, dude, when they came out and played at the Game Awards, the Jeff Keighley Game Awards, I flipped. Like, it was so awesome. Like, they had Matt Halpert from Periphery on drums.
Yeah.
And like, oh my god, he came out and he's like, I was like, oh my god, this is incredible.
I'm really surprised that you haven't played it, man. But get on
Yeah.
that sooner rather than later. Seriously, it's got to be cheap
fun.
now.
Yeah, they even have like an arcade mode for the game, so it's like you're playing through the story with none of the story bullshit, and you just play to
I don't
shoot.
think, you know what, Robert. I don't think we really need to sell this to him. Like, he knows. He knows.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
no,
Yeah.
I am.
I see the shame on his face.
aware.
Okay, well,
I bought.
okay, so
Yeah.
let's move on to the next. So now we're hitting the three big companies.
Oh
the
my
three big
gosh,
console
dude, this is gonna be a long
companies.
podcast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Let's start with Microsoft. Let's get the most uncomfortable one out of the way.
That's
I think.
the one that there's most to talk about.
I'm uncomfortable thinking about it.
Well, to me, it's like it's so like, what are they gonna do? You know, that's the question on my mind all the time.
I at the same time, I'm kind of like excited, but I also know I also know in my heart of hearts that it's going to be one of those things where it's like, Xbox One Scorpio. Okay, here it is. Now, here's this third-party game. Best played on Xbox One Scorpio. And they're going to be saying that a lot because that's going to
let's
be their
clarify
tagline.
a little bit. So they're definitely going to show the Project Scorpio, which is the code name, not necessarily the official name for their latest iteration of the Xbox One. It's not a new console. It's just the Xbox One with jacked up on steroids, on jacked up graphics.
yeah, it's
4K.
Right.
it's the PS4 Pro.
Yeah, it is
of Xbox
It is
One.
an Xbox One. Just plays games in 4K resolution native. It is, and not to short sell it. Like, it is going to be, when it comes out at that time, the strongest video game console ever made.
Yeah, 6 teraflops in that one little box.
Floppy.
Like, it's hard to house that many.
Here's the
teraflops.
question. So,
No,
I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
No, yeah, I was gonna say, it's hard to think, so the 6 teraflop machine is coming out, right? They're probably gonna announce like release date, price, and specs. But what can I play on it that makes me want to buy it?
What's that? League of Thieves or something like that? Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves.
Sea of
It's
Thieves.
also coming out on PC.
That's
though.
where I'll play it. That looks like a PC centric game. No, I want to talk. I think they're gonna have the games to announce. I think they're saving it
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is like
I'm gonna try. It's really hard. You guys know me. It's really hard for me to be optimistic, especially about Microsoft. But I'm gonna try really hard to be optimistic. They're gonna have the games there, but they are gonna. This is gonna be the coming out party for the Scorpio. At least that's what they hope. We'll get that later. But let me ask you this: have you guys seen the dev kits? Because they've been like really public about the dev kits for this system. I mean, they're even stronger than the regulars, than the Scorpio is going to be itself, because they want developers to be able to do what they want with the game, you know, so they give them all the specs and all the headroom and then tune it down, quote unquote, tune it down to fit on the Scorpio. But anyways, the dev kit has a LCD screen like on the front of it, of the dev kit, of the box itself.
Yeah, I did see those pictures.
And it can show you whatever you want. People have actually even programmed you to be able to play games on that small screen that's physically on the box. Like you can play Snake or other like old cell phone games, things like that, which is pretty funny. But mainly they'll let you put whatever you want on there. But most people use it for like FPS counter or something like that, which I don't know anyone that has a separate screen. Like anyone that cares about FPS, right, is on PC. And I don't know anyone that has a separate FPS counter that's not on their monitor, you know, that's off to the side. Like, so I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing. So what the question I have for you is, if that design is baked into the dev kit, what do you think the chances are they're going to have some kind of functionality like that in the final build? Will it be on the console, or will they maybe pull a Dreamcast, which they've been known to do in the past, by the way? The Xbox is kind of the Dreamcast sequel by default. But will they maybe have some kind of weird LCD screen on the controller? Will they change the controller at all? No one's really talked about this.
I don't think so, and I think the biggest reason why is because the price point, because it's already going to be such a powerful system in and of itself. That if they do any like willy-nilly type of things with anything else on the console, that's only going to drive up costs. Because the biggest thing about this console is the price point itself, is like, because the adoption rate isn't going to be very high if it's a super expensive console, because people could otherwise, I mean, and especially if they don't have the games to back it, people can just buy a $250 PS4 and play all the third party.
Are they going to do what they need to do, and are they going to bring it in at a loss so that they have that market penetration to get consoles into homes? Are they willing to do that? I don't know, and I kind of doubt it.
Right, and I think what they're going to do is they're going to do something similar to what they did with the Xbox One S, and that they're going to have like the multiple hard drive storage like tiers. They're going to have like, you know, like a 1 terabyte at I'm gonna speculate a 1 terabyte at like $450, and I'm gonna say like a 2 terabyte at like $499.
Interesting. I think you know what?
Yeah.
I think that they're going to have. I could see them having multiple. They've done it multiple times. No pun intended. But I could see them having, you know, a starter kit, quote unquote, and then one that's like. I don't think a terabit is like big enough anymore, especially when you're talking about 4K games. If you're having a game that is rendering natively at 4K, that's just more space you're going to need for those installs. So, you know, a terabyte isn't going to do you anymore, I feel. So I think that they're going to. I don't think that they feel that behind on the PlayStation 4. No, from a numbers game, right? I mean, obviously, like the sentiment, they definitely are behind, and that's why they are doing this. It definitely looks obvious to me that they took being considered a technologically inferior console this last gen. I definitely feel like they took it personally with the Scorpio, and this is like their answer back, right? This is their big haymaker to say, hey, forget Sony, you know, come over to the green side here. Look what we're doing.
This time, it's personal.
I think that I don't think they feel that behind, because what do they do all the time in these press releases? They always say, well, at this point in the life cycle, this is the greatest selling Microsoft console of all time. You know, we're selling more faster than the Xbox 360, et cetera, et cetera. You know, so I don't think for numbers games. So I actually think they probably are going to bring it, you know, in at about $500 is my guess.
Yeah, see, that's what I was feeling too, because it's like because Sony drops the PS4 Pro at excuse me, the $399 price
stronger.
Point.
This is way stronger than that.
And it's way
it's not even close.
Stronger than that. And yeah, and so like I think $499 it's like that sounds about the price point, but the thing is they can't afford to be much more expensive than that. They're just because otherwise people just won't buy it.
I mean, and it's like, who is this for? Does that person really exist that is still like Microsoft consoles only? Like, I feel like so many people that grew up playing Xbox 360 or even original Xbox, so many of those people have grown up and grown into PC gaming. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just telling you, like, I have the GTX 1080 Ti, and that's rocking almost 12 teraflops. So 6 teraflops to me doesn't sound as good as someone, as maybe someone that's accustomed to the Wii or the Wii U. Like, it's just like, okay, fine. Like, I could, there's nothing to stop me from plugging in my PC, which, by the way, tends to play most of the Xbox exclusive games now, right? With crossplay. Like, they're almost like cannibalizing themselves in so many ways. It's just a very weird to market strategy they have here with this. But
yeah, I'm having a hard time seeing who would want an Xbox Scorpio or Xbox Super Xbox, whatever they're going to call it, right? Because people who have the Xbox console right now are more than likely people who are budget conscious enough where they might not feel it's worth it to shill another $500 or $600 even for a better Xbox
and I
One.
feel good.
That and no, I was just going to say that and like almost everyone that I've met or anyone that I know that has an Xbox One either has another console if they are a hardcore gamer, or a person that just owns an Xbox One usually isn't that like hardcore of a gamer, that they just have that Xbox One and that's just the console that they play on.
They're really going to be pushing VR with this thing too. There might even be VR bundles. That might be a surprise. That might be kind of an ace in the hole for them if they bundle this with VR and maybe at a good price, right? So maybe they cut the price of the Oculus Rift. I think that's what they're directly supporting. I think they signed a deal right with Oculus. So what if they had a bundle that came in and it was cheaper than if you were to buy a $500 console and the Oculus Rift separate, like maybe buy $150 or something like that? Then that would be a greater value proposition if VR is still a thing, which is just another big asterisk next to it as well, right? But that's kind of all in the plan for this console is they want it to support VR out of the box, be the best way to play, so I don't know, a lot of questions. I'm really excited to learn more. I mean, but let me ask you this, like, again, as a PC gamer that graduated from Xbox, what game, let's say they do have a bunch of great games come out, okay, best case scenario, but which one of those Xbox exclusive games is also not going to be available to play on PC?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Another problem,
and that's where they shot themselves
precedent years ago. That the games that come out on Xbox One are going to come out on PC as well, and sometimes, most of the time, they're going to look better and run at higher resolutions and more solid frame rates. So, again,
because I remember when they made that announcement, I was like, oh, finally! So there's less console exclusivity. Like, I wouldn't be able to play Forza Horizon 6 without this whole like crossplay thing, right? Because I don't own an Xbox, but I could play it on PC, and I'm willing to bet it looks better on my PC than it ever would if I had owned an Xbox One.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Especially the latest Forza Horizon runs awesome, and it supports ultra wide 21:9 aspect ratio. Like, heck yeah. Oh,
yeah. So whenever I think of like Microsoft exclusive games coming out pretty soon, I can only think of Halo 6 and Crackdown 3. I don't think we like they've come out and said that those are definitely coming out on PC, but they're likely going to because of their
Halo 6 makes me yawn more than anything. Actually, I'm just gonna yawn for Halo 6 now.
Nice. Good timing.
Halo now. But anyways, Crackdown 3 though is a game that definitely could take advantage, of the added flops, with the examples of the destructible environments. Like what they showed looked pretty impressive. That was a couple years ago. So I'd love to see where that game is now. But how quick are we to forget how terrible and disappointing Crackdown 2 was? All anyone wants to think about are those agility orbs in Crackdown 1, how fun that was at that time. 12 years ago now? 11 years
Something
ago.
Like that
game was like, holy crap. But it was fun for a time. But I don't know, one cop game, superhero game, a console does not make. So they're going to have to do more.
Yeah, I mean, and I not to get into the console wars too much, but like even when I hear Xbox One fanboys like just go out of the way to try and defend the Xbox One, it almost makes me feel makes me feel bad for them, man.
Is what it is, man.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's like, yeah, but like Crackdown 3 and Sea of Thieves, I'm like, really? Really? Like I can name so many PS4 exclusives that came out this year that blow both of those probably both of those away.
I like I said, I'm going to remain optimistic. I'm gonna think positively and say that they're going to have some exciting game announcements, because it's just been so filled with disappointment, as we've touched on before in podcasts of weeks past, that things that come out of E3 don't necessarily come true all the time. So they're willing to make you big promises.
Look at Scalebound.
Yeah, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is there going to be any changes or updates to controller, or are they just not going to mess with a good thing?
I think they shouldn't mess with a good thing.
Shouldn't, but I'm saying will they?
No.
Like, it's far prediction wise.
I mean, the thing is, they already have. There's already like a bajillion variations of the Xbox One controller.
I'm not talking about color scheme. I'm talking about like basic
like,
functionality. Is there going to be anything?
Well, I mean, they already have the Xbox One Elite controller.
Yeah, like I don't think they're going to make like an Elite or an Elite 2 or an Elite Scorpio or something. I think
when the Pro came out, that's why I'm asking you guys. They changed a little bit of the controller functions.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Like very subtle
version of the controller. Do you think we're going to get the same in the box controller, or do you think they're going to tweak it? Is the right word?
They might tweak it a little bit. Like I'm sorry, because I was thinking, I thought you were talking more like big ticket changes,
6 face buttons instead of 4.
I could see them doing something stupid like a FPS counter on the controller. Seriously, I could see it happening.
Yeah, heads up display or something on the controller.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's move on to the next of the big three. Let's start talking about Nintendo, that weird kid in the room.
Yeah, I heard some distressing news, Colin, what you were talking about before we started recording. Do you remember about the length of this presentation? Because Nintendo, they don't do a quote-unquote proper E3 presentation anymore. They do pre-recorded things, and some of them have led to some of the most memorable moments of E3's past. I love the Puppet Iwata year. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that when they did it. Yeah, they have a charm. They have a style. Nintendo has some aggressive marketing going on. They definitely are the most stylistic, the coolest. They just seem like the company that makes you happy, right? More so than Sony or Microsoft by a long shot. So Colin, you were talking about, so yeah, we're expecting, like, again, like years past, another pre-recorded kind of presentation. But you were talking about how long it's going to be, or how short it's going to be, rather.
Yeah, so I was reading a thread on Gaff right before we started recording, and it said apparently the presentation itself, or live stream event thing, whatever Nintendo has going on, the Treehouse thing or whatever, is only going to be 30 minutes. So yeah, 30 minutes, that's it. But if it's anything like the last Direct they have, I mean, it's going to be like, okay, here's the list of things. It's going to be boom, 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 boom. We're just going to throw a bunch at you, not really give you much time to digest all of it, but they're going to throw a lot of information in a short amount of time. And so obviously they're going to probably be talking about, you know, Mario Odyssey. They're going to throw more stuff about that. They're going to be talking about ARMS. They're going to be talking about Splatoon 2. They're going to especially be pushing ARMS and Splatoon 2 a lot because they have those coming out so soon.
You think so? You think that they'll spend time on those games? On ARMS? So specifically, when's ARMS coming out?
ARMS comes out at the end of the week of E3, like June 16, I think. So like next Friday.
I think, that's just my prediction. I think they're not going to mention ARMS at all.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're not going to mention it at all. But I don't think they're going to tarry long on it. But the thing is, like, they're going to mention it because it's just another way to mention it in passing.
I don't know if it's going to get any screen time, and I don't think it'll be on the show floor.
Well, yeah, I mean, this, of course, they still got to do that thing where it's like, hey guys, by the way, ARMS is dropping. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's just another way to market it.
Okay. Splatoon 2 and Mario.
And then Splatoon 2, of course.
And Mario might be the only one on the floor.
That's the known stuff.
like last year, yeah.
And then we might hear a little bit more Fire Emblem stuff because there's just a bajillion and one Fire Emblem games coming out.
I don't know. I think Mario is definitely going to be the big focus this year at E3 for sure.
No, I agree. Yeah, because especially if they're pushing in.
Here's a legit question I have. I agree with how much 3DS do we see? Do we see 3DS?
Too much. Too much.
Are you serious?
Not enough Switch.
You think they're going to put too much 3DS in there? That's not what I expected here.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't. I mean, it's not that I want them to, but it's like, it's especially with how they just had that Pokemon Direct and they're like, hey, Ultra Sun and Moon is a 3DS game. Like, I mean, I understand they're trying to keep it alive, but man, like, we need more Switch stuff. And that's the big thing. And I mean, based on what Reggie said, it's going to be a big year for E3. Like, I just hope that like we need more Switch.
I think maybe they
more
did that,
stuff.
guys, to get it out of the way, so they don't have to touch the 3DS anymore. I'm just trying to speculate.
I want to be on that side. I want to believe that for sure. But on the Switch side of things, I'm hoping to see. I want to see more about Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yes, they will show more. That got a big amount of buzz for them. That when they announced the console and they showed that. Yeah.
Yes, and Xenoblade Chronicles X was phenomenal. It was fantastic. It was a fun game. And then I want to see a little bit more about that Shin Megami Tensei game that they teased.
Yeah, see,
they showed like a small trailer for it.
See, the thing that I'm imagining with E3 here is like what I'm starting to realize is when Nintendo's E3 show, if they don't mention Shin Megami Tensei or if they don't mention Xenoblade Chronicles 2 at E3, I'm not going to be disappointed because Nintendo's doing this thing where it's kind of like guerrilla marketing almost, where it's all about their terms. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have you found out the morning of, like, oh, there's going to be a Nintendo Direct today? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, like, so what if they don't show Shin Megami Tensei next week? They'll have a Direct, like a couple months later where they do mention it. You know what I mean? Like, I think
you're right.
Nintendo, if it's one of those things where they're going to show you what they want to show you when they think it's the right time. And I think right now the thing that's most likely to be at the right, like, honestly, if next week, if we only get like 30 minutes of Mario and like that's it,
that's what I would expect. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that. I'd be disappointed slightly, but I wouldn't be surprised. I could see that being their thing. Also, do you guys remember when they first announced this game in January called Project Octopath Traveler? That's Square Enix, like pseudo 2D, 3D.
I remember.
Oh man, I was just thinking of like Story of Mana or whatever those PS1 games were, like Tales of Fantasia,
Secret of Mana.
It really got my PS1 kind of memories humming in my head. I was like, oh, that game looks good. So I hope to see more of that. That honestly is one of the Switch games that I would buy the console for. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that right there just
it looks awesome. Even though that name that name.
Yeah, no, it's is there? And, you gotta wonder. So you're telling me there's like I got to beat this game 8 times now to like see the true ending, right? Like,
right, the true.
You need to 800% complete it before you get to see the true ending.
So I mean, I think Nintendo's going to be memorable. I think they'll be charming. I think they're going to hopefully ride the momentum they have. Hey, are they going to show? You know what they're not going to show that I really wish they would? The SNES Classic that is in production now. Do you think they'll show that?
Right. The one that they're going to sell. They're only going to sell it for like 2 months.
In their presentation also, do you think we're going to see people playing multiplayer on their cell phones?
Oh God, I kind of hope not, but I could see them doing that. If they have a catchy song in the background of the trailer, they will. They
always do. Their trailers are good now. Their marketing is great now. Maybe the best marketing of the big 3 companies. Maybe.
I don't know. Well, so Sony knocked it out of the park last year.
Guys,
yeah.
Real quick, let's address the elephant in the room. Do we finally see a new Metroid?
We should, but we deserve them, but we won't get one.
Yeah, I really don't think we will.
So many those last 2 Metroid games disappointed.
Dude, Federation Force, are you kidding me?
Serious right now?
Are you kidding me?
Dude, we're gonna fight.
Yeah,
okay. Federation Force.
No. Okay. No. I'm agreeing with you. It was awful.
You were gonna take that mantle on, dude. I was like, wait a second.
No. I don't have that many polarizing gaming opinions. Right. Jesus. Ooh. Wow.
Okay.
Sorry. Didn't mean to scare you.
You see my face?
I agree.
Too?
I meant, are you kidding me? I was like, are you kidding me? Did they really expect us to like
exactly.
that?
Okay, so I take that back. So Metroid hasn't had a great game made by Nintendo since the Game Boy Advance. Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission. They haven't. The Federation Force. What a joke.
Yeah. Well, I don't wait. When
the one on the direct sequel to Metroid Prime was bad. Then Metroid Other M was terrible, and then Metroid the third one on the Wii, Infection,
Corruption, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption.
All those disappointing.
Oh, see, I did. See, haven't really gotten too much into the Prime games, so I wouldn't know.
We deserve a good Metro, but here's the thing, right? Like, what does a good Metro game look like anymore? So I don't know if people are more open to playing a Metroidvania style game in first person. I haven't seen a great execution of that in forever. And then also, indie games do that genre better now. They've kind of been eclipsed, you know, and the market's kind of saturated right now. I mean, look at Axiom Verge a couple years ago. That, you know, there's no way a Metro game's going to come out and do that better. I don't think. I mean, I'd like to think so in a perfect world, but what does a new Metro game look like? Here's the thing that surprised everybody. I think with Breath of the Wild, Nintendo did something that I just didn't even think they had in them. Like the courage to like really get deep into Zelda and throw away so much. I mean, that game, this might be hyperbole, but it almost renders the last 3 or 4 Zelda games to me like kind of irrelevant. I know that sounds crazy, but I really like Skyward Sword, but it just doesn't even make me think about them anymore. Even I love Link to the Past. Don't get me wrong, it's one of my top 3 favorite games of all time probably. But the sequel to it, Link Between Worlds, at the time I loved that game, but now that I'm playing Breath of the Wild, I don't even think about that game anymore. I don't even think about it. I'm just like, no, Zelda is this now. Zelda's this over here.
Yeah, it's kind of like redefined what Zelda. Completely. Like if this was the new starting point for Zelda, I'd take it. You know what I mean?
So with that being said, I think that they have demonstrated that they have it in them to really reinvent their store, you know, their pillar franchises, the big 3, which I still don't even know why Metroid. I don't even know if it deserves to be in that big 3 anymore. I mean, it could be argued that it doesn't at this point, and I wouldn't fight it. But I think now I am optimistic. Like, okay, Nintendo has it in them to do what needs to be done to produce a new Metroid, but I don't see it happening so soon. I do see it happening on the Switch, or at least their attempt. Right, whether or not it's going to be successful remains to be seen. But I do see them attempting to reinvent and bring Metroid back in house, get it out of Team Ninja's hands.
Right. Like the
Metroid Prime 4.
The reason, though, I think that we're not going to see a Metroid is that if they're going to give Metroid the Breath of the Wild treatment, right, where like completely rebuild it from the ground up and make it amazing, right? If they like announce that at E3, it's going to take away from Mario's thunder, which Mario is looking like they're getting a similar treatment too, you know, with like kind of redesigning what it is to be a Mario game and kind of take some hints back from Mario 64 and so on. And if they also announce side by side, like also there's going to be a new Samus game, like it takes away from the impact I think that Nintendo's going to want with Mario. Cause I think we've said this on the podcast before that Mario is going to be the second wave of Switch selling.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm waiting for.
Sure.
You know, I might pick up ARMS. We'll see how the reviews come out. But also, I'm definitely Splatoon 2 is on my radar. Those would be the 2 big games that I would play. Because again, Breath of the Wild I already own, so I have no need.
Right.
But that would be a third if I didn't already have it. But yeah, it's going to be Mario's year, and and everyone else is going to have to contend with it. And I really think that. Mario is going to affect, I know this sounds crazy, but Mario is going to affect Scorpio sales. I think more people are going to want the Mario machine. Get me the machine what plays Mario, and you know, and Santa can get me Scorpio next year.
Yep.
Exactly.
Let's move on to the final bit of E3. Man, this is a long one, isn't it?
It's a. I mean, we say this every year, but E3, it's going to be a big E3, but it really is this year. It really is. And it's just so much more interesting because Switch is a thing. It's not a failure. Yeah,
it's an impressive year for video games, I think. And to cap off this discussion, I'd like to shift gears into Sony. Because that's just a
Sony.
Bucket of worms. You know, there's so much that Sony can do.
All the things.
Dude, I honestly, so actually, we haven't talked about this one in the past, but so I feel like just to start us off a little small, but I think Capcom comes out during Sony's press conference and they're going to talk about Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. They're going to probably show some new characters, but I really think, and because I was listening to the Kind of Funny Gamescast the other day, and it got me thinking. I was like, so Capcom comes out and they're like, okay, so we're gonna announce all the characters from Marvel vs. Capcom. Then they show like a character vignette for like Dante, and then Capcom's like, Devil May Cry 5, and what? Everyone freaks the hell out because we haven't had Devil May Cry in so long.
Wait, so you think they're gonna forego that DMC?
Yeah,
reboot?
They already did that, man, a couple years ago.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't know if they're gonna be like DMC 2 or gonna be like Devil May Cry 5 and bring back white-haired Dante.
In a way, it was kind of a crime.
Or
that game didn't sell very well, because I think that game is solid.
DMC.
Yes, people just couldn't get
fun.
over the art style and how Dante looked.
Yeah.
But man, I just played it, and it played like it was right up there with Bayonetta to me.
Oh yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah. No, Pie in the Sky prediction. They have dude from Animusha in Marvel vs. Capcom. Hashtag bring
Quickly
Animusha
become your
back. They're like,
catchphrase.
hashtag Animusha HD collection. Hashtag like Animusha 5.
No, if we're talking Pie in the Sky, how weird would it be? Mega Man X9. Like, we're talking Capcom Pie in the Sky.
Mega Man Legends 3.
My faith in Capcom is gone.
Is so low.
They took such a good thing in Street Fighter 4 and just buried it into the ground. And I'm on record for a long time talking about the failure of Street Fighter 5 and just the sloppiness around it. And I can't remember exactly what else, but I just remember other things are happening with Capcom. Just they don't fucking get it anymore.
I forget. Did you buy Street
Hell
Fighter
no.
5?
Still to this day, I get mad. I'm starting to cuss now. Like, I get mad thinking about Street Fighter 5, dude. I will not play it. It's just bad. All the characters are boring. It reminds me of Third Strike kind of level of bad, just weird, just
Well, just to shill Namco a little bit, Akuma is in Tekken 7.
Akuma? No, I know. And I heard that he's good in it.
Yeah.
And I heard
Wait, did you say Namco?
Huh?
You said Namco.
Yeah, Tekken.
Oh, I thought you. Never mind. Sorry, you said Akuma, and then you're like Namco. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, Akuma's in it.
I was confused.
He plays very weird. He plays like a Street Fighter character
Sounds
in a
cool to me.
Tekken game, which, I mean, I know he is a Street Fighter character in a
Dragon
Tekken game,
Punch
but
in that?
yeah. Is that the upward fist? Uppercut?
Uppercuticus.
I think it's like down, forward, right, and then right punch.
Weird. Okay.
I think.
They're going to
Yeah.
have that. Also, this isn't so much prediction rather than observation, but they are going to have that gold slim PlayStation 4 that's priced at $249 now, which who wants a gold console? Not I, but apparently the market research disagrees. So
Hey, people want that bling bling on their PlayStation.
I wanted the white one when Destiny first came out, but hey.
Yeah, but gearing back to what we plan on, or what we hope to see, man, where to begin? Okay, so I'd like to see a lot more of The Last of Us Part 2. Or at least some kind of information on it.
I don't know. I mean, I think it would be really stretching it to say we get gameplay already.
Yeah, I don't think gameplay.
No, yeah, like I think it's because the game is like far and away for a little while.
I don't need gameplay for that, and this is I'm kind of the opposite side of the fence with Last of Us 2 as I am with Far Cry. Where last week I was talking about how the Far Cry really needs to change it up. Last of Us 2 really needs to live up to the original, in my opinion. And I think that they're going to get in danger if they change too much. Like, I actually want that story to continue. I want the trajectory to just be a natural progression. I would love for it to take place. I don't know. Maybe it's already been kind of publicized when the storyline is, but I would love for it to take place like immediately after the ending. And I won't spoil the ending, but yeah, but... Yeah, it's kind of controversial. It's kind of polarizing. I loved it. I am also like a Francis Ford Coppola fan of his films, so that's why I like that ending. But I actually want more of that game.
It.
I'm not done with that game. I want it to kind of play and look. I mean, obviously look updated and feel updated, but I don't want them to change too much with that. Give me more of Last of Us. That game was awesome.
Yeah,
and it's been long enough.
I mean, if The Last of Us Part 2, honestly, if they pull like they did Uncharted 2 in the Uncharted series, like how much of an improvement Uncharted 2 was over the first one, and they do that with The Last of Us Part 2, it's going to be awesome. And they're not going to change too much. It's going to stay close or hit close to home as to what The Last of Us 1 was. And I mean, Neil Druckmann even said that if they didn't have something to do with the story that went in a really good direction, they wouldn't be doing The Last of Us Part 2.
Right.
So that's that gives me confidence that Naughty Dog will be able to do
their track record right now really has earned trust from me. very deserving of our trust. So if they feel that the story is there to tell, and it obviously is. I mean, I don't want to spoil that game. It's about 4 years old now, but like there's story to tell for sure.
Oh yeah. I think Square Enix has a lot to deliver on this year.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? They probably have the most pressure. They have to show more. They've already shown gameplay of Final Fantasy VII. They have to show out of battle gameplay. Yeah, like they have to show progression. And also, man, you're opening a can of worms, dude. And then also Kingdom Hearts 3, they have to show something. They have to bring it too. Now in development, more information this winter. What?
Yeah,
when did they
more information this winter.
Please be excited for it.
Yeah, I think they have a lot to deliver on. Those are their two big games right now,
Honestly, I think if we don't hear anything about either of those games during the Sony press conference, like the stage is going to get tomatoed. People are just going to start throwing tomatoes, and people are going to start throwing switches at the stage.
I think the show. I'm going to make a prediction here. I think the show is going to close with gameplay of Death Stranding, but that's another thing. Back to Square Enix.
Right. Yeah, I think Square Enix is probably going to be one of the big highlights of Sony's show. I think that we're going to have to see a lot more, like Jack mentioned, gameplay of both games. And I really hope that Kingdom Hearts 3 is kind of more of the centerpiece than Final Fantasy 7 is. Because at this point, I'm sure Final Fantasy 7 remake will happen. Like, I'm sure I will own that game in the next 5 years. I'm not sure if I will own Kingdom Hearts 3 in the next 5 years.
Part 1 of 3.
Right.
Chapter 1.
But
right.
But what I mean is, like, I feel like Kingdom Hearts 3 is just like this fever dream. There's just this thing that's just always there, but will never exist.
I couldn't feel luckier and more fortunate than ever to not give a shit about Kingdom Hearts. Like, yeah, really? I know. Hey, I know this hurts your souls, but it's one of those games that always I wanted to get into, but I couldn't find the time. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, if you remember, right around when Xbox 360 came out. So Oblivion, farewell free time. But to me, it's honestly, for me, Kingdom Hearts 3 is more about watching the fanboys gush and freak out, like at a Twice concert or something like that.
That's fair. And I'm sad to say I'm like one of those people now because I got invested in Kingdom Hearts
you're
like
playing
2 or 3 years ago, and I'm
you're in, but you better be, because it's going to be, like you said,
yeah.
like what? How many years do you think in the future? When does this launch?
Late 2018.
I mean, there was literally just there was just that article that got released where I don't know if it was Nomura, it was someone from Square Enix. They were like, yeah, don't worry, Final Fantasy VII, Kingdom Hearts 3, they'll be released within the next 3 years.
What comes out first, right? Kingdom Hearts 3 or the Avatar sequel? Or the Avatar sequel?
3. Oh,
Avatar sequel.
The Avatar sequel.
Avatar sequel.
That's going to have
Avatar
many
theme part came out before Kingdom Hearts sequel came out.
Yeah. It's also worth mentioning that from Square Enix, we'll probably also see more promo stuff for Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age.
Ooh.
Because they have that dropping in July.
I don't know. I feel like E3 isn't really the...
Hold on. Does Square Enix, doesn't Square Enix have their own show? They used to.
No. They're probably just... No, I don't think they're going to have one this year. I think they're just going to like have a segment in Sony.
Right. It's a possibility.
I was really disappointed.
I'm not saying it's guaranteed. That's one of my favorite
Final Fantasy games. It's in my top 4 or 5 Final Fantasy games of all time. Final Fantasy 12 is. But I was really disheartened to learn it's not going to be on PC. At least at launch.
The remake.
I was really disappointed. Yeah. So I actually really enjoy that game. And it takes a lot of hints from or a lot of cues from Episode 1, Star Wars Episode 1, in my opinion. Which to some people would be a bad thing. To me, I'm fine with it. But so open up old wounds, man. But I hope it comes to PC sometime soon. So what else?
All right. I kind of want to see more of Detroit Become Human. Want to see more of that sweet David Cage goodness.
How do I feel about that game?
I need some more. We were talking about before, Robert, dude. We need some more David Cage in our lives right now.
What was the last game he came out with the?
He did Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain. Pretty good. I think it's so. Are you of the the idea that David Cage games aren't games but just movies?
I mean, I'm objective. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Beyond Two Souls, I think, is the most gamey movie he's released.
I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it like, I know I was kind of being facetious there, but I don't mind. I think that you have to have a certain plan. If you're going to tell a great story, which he's trying to do, he's trying to be on the caliber of film. If you do that, you have to have, you have to take certain levels of control out of the player's hands.
Right. I do think Beyond Two Souls is pretty good. It's well worth the investment now because it's pretty cheap to pick up. I'd be willing to bet.
Yeah, you can get it on PS4 now.
I'm a Heavy Rain man.
Digitally.
Like, I love that game. I think the game's sweet.
Yeah. Heavy Rain was fun.
There's jankiness all around, but it was endearing to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Beyond Two Souls. Beyond Two Souls is it plays a lot more smoothly than Heavy Rain did. I think it feels a little more intuitive, and I think the story is really compelling.
Detroit seems ambitious. Detroit.
Yes, the trailer for Detroit. It was just showing off all these choices you can make, and it felt like so much for just one little scene.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
So, that's probably why they're taking so long with it.
Game. I'm sure it's somewhere, but it looks like if they really are going to introduce that much choice, it's got to be either incredibly short or incredibly expensive.
Yeah, because I'd like to see that game have so many choices where like you are obligated to play through it multiple times.
You know what? But that reminds me of Nier, though. Like, what do they have? Like, you can go overboard, right? You can have 29 endings or whatever to a game. Like, get out of here. Like, to me, I don't know. I don't like that. I like having a clear path to the good ending. I guess maybe I'm old school. I don't need to play a game 29 times.
Well, I'd like it if Detroit Become Human were like a short experience, so like you can beat the game in like 2-3 hours. Whoa. But every time you play it, like let's say for example, right? But every time you play it, like you can go like totally like places you've never been to before in a previous playthrough, and you meet all these characters that like they're the reason behind these events happening. And the first playthrough, you just accepted these events happening, but in the second playthrough, you're like, oh, this is why they happen, and I can stop it, or I can change. You know what I mean?
I'm very curious.
I like that idea.
I don't know if I'm excited is the word, because I didn't play Beyond Two Souls. Not to say that I won't sometime in the future, but I'm just curious to see how, if he's going to be able to make good and deliver, given this new tech, because this is his first venture on the PlayStation 4 generation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think honestly, it'll be fun. I'm going to play it regardless, and I'm going to enjoy it for what it is, even if it's not that good.
I just like bad games, guys. I don't know what to talk about.
No, I don't do David Cage game, man. I like those movie games.
I hope while we're on David Cage still, I hope that they have really bad French/American accents, because that's like his calling card. Is that in Beyond? They still do that weird pronunciation?
No. They have like good like Willem Dafoe is in Beyond Two Souls.
Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe and Ellen Page. They did a really good job.
Yeah, they do a good job. I mean, like I didn't buy the game because of Willem Dafoe and Ellen Page, but like they had great performances. I kept adding the word Spider-Man at the end of Willem Dafoe's lines, but Spider-Man.
Kirsten Dunst.
Okay,
why?
so all right, is this enough for David Cage talk?
I think that's enough for David Cage. I think.
We need to get to the big one though, because I think Sony Santa Monica is going to come out and they're going to show gameplay for Dad of War.
Oh, not that excited about that game.
Not that excited.
Really?
I am stoked. I am beyond hyped. It's the Last of Us, Dad of War, God of War thing.
I don't know.
You are walking on mighty thin ice, Kratos.
They need to do something with the franchise. This might be the right thing, but is the whole game like letterboxed, like unnecessarily? Kind of like,
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully it's not the order 1886.
Like, to me, that always just seemed real pretentious to me to do stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd like to see.
I don't know. It looks like The Witcher meets The Last of Us.
Now you're talking down on The Witcher.
I'd like to see more of it. Like, I do want to see more of Dad of War, but it's not something like it'll take a lot to sell. Yeah,
exactly. I can't imagine a world where I spend money on it. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, as a guy that's played nearly every game in the series and enjoyed them a lot,
rank the Gods of War right now.
Got it. So
rank them.
Rank them. God of War 2 is my favorite.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah, God of War 2, and then probably God of War 3, and then
over 1?
God of. I don't know.
God of War 1 is the only one with a good story. God of War 3's story is terrible. It's
fair.
rushed.
It is true. It's really short and it ends very abruptly.
God of War 3 was one of the best looking PS3 games, period.
No, honestly, though, God of War Ascension is probably the best looking PS3 game there is.
Wasn't that the most unnecessary God of War of all of them?
It was like a prequel or whatever, but it looked the best, and it did play. It was a lot of fun to play. The story wasn't really any good, but like it was a lot of fun to play. God, what else? So God of War Ascension, God of War. There's also Chains of Olympus and Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta. Those are the PSP ones. Which those, I mean, I haven't played. I started playing Chains of Olympus because I got like the HD collection for PS3. I haven't played Ghost of Sparta yet, but I don't know. I think 2. I don't know. 3 I liked a lot. I don't know. You're making me change my answer,
God
man.
of War 2
you broke me. You broke me. It's been too long.
Pinnacle, closely followed by God of War 1, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree with that.
All right, so go back. So I'm not that like whatever. I fell off of God of War a long time ago. Like if it's good, it's good. I just don't imagine a world where I spend money on it, but I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it'll go, because it looks like they're trying to inject like emotion into God of War,
right?
You know, so like emotions beside like aggression and vengeance and gore.
Yeah. Let me. Are we done talking about this game?
Oh. Yeah. Like
no, I mean, I just like to say it's probably a day one buy for me. I'm just going to be honest.
Teach their own. Okay. Do we see gameplay of Shenmue 3? Is my question to you, fine gentlemen.
Maybe. I think we'll at least.
I don't know, because when I'm sorry, Robert, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Like we'll at least see an update on Shenmue 3. I think whether that's gameplay, or
maybe like pre-rendered, or just maybe they'll spin the camera around like a Japanese hut or something, and some cherry blossom trees.
I think we'll see,
and the little stone bridge over the creek with the koi fish.
Yeah, because I mean, it's been 2 years since they announced the game and the Kickstarter and all that, so I think we're gonna see something, at the very least, a trailer. But I don't know. Gameplay might be a little early for that, because it's a Kickstarter game, so they're probably taking.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I mean, I was happy to support them on Kickstarter. I would have supported that effort wherever it was. I never played Shenmue 2, but I really have fond memories of Shenmue 1. I recognize it's not a great game, and it's not maybe worth going back to either. But nothing can change the time I had with it back in when I was unemployed, and played it and beat it in 3 straight days when it first came out on Dreamcast. But I am so sour, and I don't mean to open this can of worms either, but I'm just like so sour on any kind of Kickstarter. I've been nothing but burned. Everything I've ever supported on Kickstarter has just like slapped me on the face. Literally, guys, I had to. So when did Republic, right? Remember that iOS game that was made by
2020
Camouflage? Is that when it was? I thought it was.
Yeah.
No, dude. Yeah. No, it was not 2014. It was definitely like 2010 when the Kickstarter came out. It has to be around 2010, 2011. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, look it up if you can. But anyways, it was multiple years. Okay, I want to say it was like 5 years. And I actually had to change my address on Kickstarter because I moved across the country before they got anyone's physical rewards out. And not until I moved to Austin, Texas, did I actually have them send me what they had promised as far as backer rewards. And I don't know, it just, that one super burned me. And then still to this day, one of the worst like offenses ever, Outer Lands, the guys that used to make the 1UP show back at oneup.com, they made a great show back then. And when the 1UP apocalypse happened and they had all those layoffs of at once there, I think they had to lay off like 40, 50 people like in one day and just run on a skeleton crew for a while until IGN bought them. But anyways, they did this thing called Co-op, and then they did this Kickstarter thing for a 6-episode documentary series. And dude, it's been like 3 years and they haven't released one episode yet. I think they're trying. They haven't done anything. I think they're trying to just finish it and then release all 6 like in one go, but still do 3 years for six hour long episodes or something. Like, They got a lot of money. They got way more than they were asking for. And it's just, if you go on their Kickstarter page, it is just a diatribe, man. Yeah, it's not stagnant. It's a community that is like showing up at their door with like pitchforks and torches. Like, where, is this ever going to happen? So point of the story is that Kickstarter has super burned me, and like I'm kind of done with it. But again, Shenmue is one of those series that I
brings you back to
it. I made a donation, right, rather than an investment to Shenmue, like in my head. Right, I'm like, here's your money. Congrats. This is never going to happen unless the community came together. I'll be a part of this, whether or not I get what I want, whether or not I get the game. Right. So, but there might be gameplay. It could be cool. I'm hoping so. That's kind of my pie in the sky prediction for Sony's press conference, is that we'll see Shenmue 3 running in engine. I don't know if I'd be so bold to say gameplay, but I think we'll see the game running in engine in some way, shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I think we can't have a discussion of E3 without mentioning the Call of Duty.
Oh, can we not?
It's
going back to World War II.
It's going back to World War II. It's probably going to be during the Sony show because Sony's got the lion's share of the console market.
Did they lock up the? Yeah, they did. They took it from Microsoft, didn't they? Last console.
Yeah, so now
they got the exclusivity deal.
Yeah, like DLC comes out a month earlier for PlayStation people.
Yeah, I wonder how much that costs, and I wonder if they're actually getting their return on that investment, because Call of Duty is in their twilight years now. I mean, if you're going back to World War II, it's out of desperation or out of just complete creative bankruptcy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see like where it'll go, because they've been having this really hard push on like future, sci-fi, laser beams, Halo, but to all of a sudden go back to World War II,
how many times can you storm that beach?
Change.
How many times?
Yeah.
How many P's need to be in the resolution when I'm storming this beach this time? I'm bored with it. They just can't do that again. They have to come up with something fresh. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be cool to see, just because we haven't had a World War II shooter in a while.
Well,
not a big budget AAA one.
Sated me on that,
Yeah. I don't know. I'm interested to see where they'll go. I mean, I doubt I'm going to invest in this year's Call of Duty like I do every year.
You know what gets me kind of excited though about Call of Duty? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Is it Sledgehammer's year to develop it? Because I know that there's a couple studios. There's 3 studios now, isn't there, that kind of rotate the Call of Duties?
Yes.
Is this Sledgehammer?
Okay. Sledgehammer that's doing World War II.
That makes me excited, because Sledgehammer came out with Advanced Warfare or Warfighter. I can't remember exactly what that one's called.
Advanced Warfare.
That one was good.
Yes.
That was the last Call of Duty I really liked, the one with Kevin Spacey. Right, so that was the last one I really liked. So the fact that they're coming back, I'd like to see their take on World War II. I have more confidence in it. It just needs to be bombastic, right? That's all you really come at with the multiplayer and with the single player. You just need a bunch of explosions. You're just basically buying a big Michael Bay movie that you're seeing from first person view.
Your yearly Michael Bay movie in a shooter.
Is it time for World War II, Colin?
I honestly, as a person whose favorite Call of Duty is World at War, I really like World War II games.
War.
The 5th one.
What about What about Call of Duty 4? What about Modern Warfare 2? Those two.
World at War? What about World War II? I liked it.
Black Ops 2? Oh my gosh, Black Ops 1 was even good.
Man, I stopped playing after Black Ops 1.
Oh, dude, Black Ops 2 was
since.
far superior. To me, Black Ops 2 is probably my favorite one, but closely followed by Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 1. So I'm just saying, Colin, I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say World at War is their favorite one, so you're a unicorn.
I really enjoyed the campaign. I had a really good campaign. Because I don't really play much Call of Duty multiplayer.
There was a time I cared too much about it.
That's fair. I mean, I played a lot of multiplayer during the Modern Warfare 2 Black Ops era. That being said, I am very excited for Call of Duty World War II just for the campaign alone, just because of how the clips that they showed of it during the live stream, they did a really good job capturing the intensity of World War II, which is really cool.
The bonsai charges.
I don't know, like the way they were. the way they were selling the campaign just looked. They're making it gruesome, visceral, just fucking making it feel like World War II. Like
I think
real.
Battlefield 1, for the record, also did a great job making you feel like you're in the trenches, just making you feel like there's no hope of survival.
Oh yeah, no. Battlefield 1 was actually really great. That was actually the first military shooter I'd bought in years,
surprisingly good.
That was so interesting.
And I think that because of the success with that, I think Sledgehammer had a much easier sale when they went to their stakeholders, right? Like, hey, we want to go back to World War II, guys. You know, look at this game working out. So they kind of went from being the leaders to the followers.
Yeah, exactly. So Call of Duty?
Yeah, I think we're done talking about Call of Duty now.
And we should be wrapping up here pretty soon because we've been over 2.5 hours roughly here. But I do want to say my pie in the sky prediction for Sony is that you will see some kind of in-game footage of Shenmue 3. But I think my super safe bet is that the conference is going to they're going to say goodbye. The light's going to go down, and then you're going to see the main character. What's the name of that actor? Thomas Reedus. Norman Reedus. I don't know people's names.
Norman Reed and Thomas Reedus.
Thomas the Train Reedus. So, anyways, no, you'll see him. Yeah, and I think I think they'll close that show with Death Stranding gameplay. I think that's pretty much kind of foregone conclusion. Just a hunch.
Yeah.
Oh, and on a quick note, Insomniac Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Gameplay.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that.
I think gameplay is going to happen.
All right, man. Yeah, that's it for me, though. I mean, wow, we've been doing this for a while, so.
We have. I think my pie in the sky for Sony is probably something from Software. I'd like to see that. You know, Dark Souls people.
So are you just saying you just want another
oh my God. How do we forget to mention, like Bloodborne 2 has been heavily speculated.
Oh, has it?
Bloodborne 2 has been heavily speculated for the past month.
I underestimated how many people that play video games hate their lives.
They're fun, though.
It's fun to hate my life.
I love Dark Souls. I love Bloodborne. I love Demon Souls.
The Blood Souls games are really fun.
Dark Souls, well, that's a talk for another day, but I gave it a shot, guys. I tried.
Fair enough. But yeah, I'd love to see something from Software. I know they said that they're putting the cap on Dark Souls, so we'll see about Bloodborne or maybe like a new IP, maybe pie in the sky. But I think we should wrap it up. It's been a while. We've been doing this.
No, yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for listening. If you've made it this far to the end, what's wrong with you? You need help. You need help, but we're here for you.
You're as crazy as us, and that's not good. But where can we find you guys online on the internet?
I'm usually creeping around on Twitter at __55.
I still flinch when I hear you say your hashtag, your Twitter name, but
your hashtag.
Okay, so
follow me on Tumblr.
You got me at Jack Cepeda. So how long have we been podcasting?
2.5 hours.
At JACCEPEDA. And also, hey, don't feel scared to throw some of your E3 predictions as well up on Twitter. Let us know, and you can reach us, and we'll see that when you hashtag TDP for Tiny Disc Podcast.
Yeah, hashtag, tweet at us, hashtag TDP.
Hashtag TDP, get it trending.
Yep. And you can find me, Robert, online at Pinoptimist, PINOPTIMIST. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. All that good social media stuff. And that should wrap us up for today.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for your time.
All right, thanks for listening. And tune in next week for another episode of the Tiny Disc Podcast.
Bye, guys. Have a good E3.